idea for the for Grave Guard, like running like Black Knights on foot. So using the Bretonnian Knights on foot. And
the new ones?
The new ones, the sexy ones.
Yeah.
But then giving them like the skeleton heads.
Can't do that.
Why?
You're not allowed to buy anything for a game system that's not for that game system.
Really?
It's Games Workshop, isn't it?
If I go into Games Workshop and say that's what I do, will
they'll ban you.
Oh wow.
They'll kick you out now.
They'll tackle me to the ground.
If you went in and someone use that Spartan for 40k, I'd be like, nope, not allowed to. Can't do it.
Then take your dice and take measure away.
Yeah.
Give me your gun and your badge.
If you turn up to a Warhammer shop to play 40k and you've got like Mark 6 Heresy Marines as Space Marines for 40k army, they'll stamp on them.
Oh.
I have it on good authority, they just stamp on them.
That's mean.
Yeah.
Games Workshop's changed.
I mean, has it?
A bit.
Has it? Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for coming and joining us on this beautiful Thursday. It's nice here.
It's lovely. It's girt-lush.
Joe's even got shorts on.
Yeah, but that's because my belt broke and these were the tightest item of clothing I own.
It's brilliant watching him walk around at the moment because he's only got one hand because the other hand has to hold his shorts up.
Yeah, I like Bruce Wayne. Not Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
John Wayne.
John Wayne. Like Bruce Wayne, but much older.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so after this, we're going to pop out and get Joe a new belt. Good afternoon. It's beautiful here. It's lovely here in the UK. So we are going to pop out this afternoon. However, before we do that, we have the Liam and Joe show for you wonderful people. And this format works so well on Tuesday, and my hobby mojo is through the roof. We thought we would continue it today because whilst I have a hobby mojo, because of the way my fucking crazy head ADHD works, whilst I have a hobby mojo, I need to use it.
Yeah.
Otherwise it will run out.
Yeah, you got paint on some models yesterday. We're not going to kill that ambition.
So I was originally going to sit here and try and build, because Thursdays is 40k days and Tuesdays is AOS days. I was going to sit here and try and build something 40k related, and I was like, that will kill that ambition. So I'm not. I'm actually going to be building some more AOS stuff, but we're going to talk 40k at least.
Yeah.
The conversation today is about Warhammer 40k. Although that being said, it is relevant to AOS as well, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Ish.
And I basically ran into my garage and grabbed a bunch of stuff off a shelf.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of an amoosh-boosh.
It is a bit of an amuse-boosh, yeah. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash all those magical YouTube buttons first. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Smash subscribe if you haven't already. And hit that bell notification icon if you want to be notified every single time we go live or drop a new video. Alternatively, you can become a member of the Great Hall. And if you become a member of the Great Hall, you get yourself in Discord. We have a little bot that tells you when we go live, drop a new video, all that kind of stuff. For 2 more days, literally almost exactly 2 more days only, Skald tier members of the channel can watch the Kyrios saga before everybody else. Yeah. On Saturday, it will go live to the general public at 1 PM on Saturday. So if you aren't a member and you don't think we're worth paying for, you'll get to watch that anyway on Saturday. But I'd assume if you don't think we're worth paying for, you probably don't think we're worth watching anyway. So it's kind of irrelevant-ish, sort of. As always, we have our incredible members target. So !gift if you want to start throwing your members at us. And then what are you going to do if they get 100?
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Well, chat's saying that you need to get me some suspenders instead. Or braces.
I would love to see you in suspenders.
Yeah.
Over t-shirt suspenders specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like chat wants to be, by the looks of it, I feel like they want me to embrace some level of lumberjack life.
You already owe them a charity shop day.
Yeah, maybe I should get like the braces and like a tartan shirt for tonight. Yeah.
I'm
really
into it.
lean into the I'll look like Kyle, but cool.
Anywho, brilliant. So, as always, if you want to also, you didn't get your iPad again, did you? I'll go get it in a second.
I'll go.
As always, as well, Joe is going to eventually have his iPad of power. I love watching you walk in those shorts with no belt. It's literally like a shit crab.
I didn't want to wear like just gym.
I wish you could see this.
I didn't want to wear just like gym shorts.
You can't. As always, Joe has his iPad, and if you super chat or gift or anything like that, he'll see it and he'll say thank you. If you super chat, if you gift 5 or more, he'll also wish something upon you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's becoming my favourite bit we do now.
The D20 roll of it could be sometimes maybe good,
sometimes maybe shit. It's my favourite thing we do now, Joe, by far. Thank you, Evan, for the one gifted, you fucking legend.
Thank you, Evan. That was such a flattering angle of me sitting down.
I know, yeah. I quite like this new news format as well.
Yeah.
I love the brown chairs, Joe, but I feel like I actually quite like this for a Liam and Joe show.
Yeah, I like it. Going to Brown Town, yeah.
What? Why
Brown Seat Town.
What?
They're all brown over there as well. Just brown everywhere. Brown.
Okay, I mean, I'm talking quite literally about the format and how it works.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's what I was saying. Yeah, I like the format, yeah.
I quite like the desk of the news reporting type vibe, and the chairs are comfortable, and then the being able to hobby as well is quite nice in the multiple angles. Anywho, today's stream topic. It's Joe walked in having seen the stream be scheduled and went, yes, they should. That was it, done. There was no discussion. Yes. So what we asked was, should Games Workshop consider accelerating 11th edition Warhammer 40k? Now, the reason why I came up with this stream title, this isn't about being negative necessarily, but the reason why I came up with the stream title was because yesterday I saw a piece of content from a friend of ours called Mikey. I know this is going to sound like a strange thing to say, friend of ours, because it might we take the piss, but a friend of ours called Mikey from Hellstorm Wargaming. Now, the video that he put out was specifically about the most recent updates to the pivot rule, or the new pivot rule that Games Workshop brought into effect in the last update. And it's important that we let you know about it because no one else watches his content. If you go and check out that video, it'll explain what's gone on. So essentially, Games Workshop introduced brand new rules for pivot, whereby vehicles now have to pay a penalty if they want to pivot. So this is your tank and you pivot like that. You pay 2 inches of movement out of your total move characteristics. And that's it. You can pivot then as many times as you want throughout that movement, but you have to pay 2 inches to be able to pivot. What they did do was they neglected to apply this to anything with a round base, which includes essentially all of the skimmers.
Yeah.
All of the skimmers, right? Cool, okay, perfect. I didn't see a massive issue with it because I don't play competitively. The competitive crowd clearly tore it apart immediately and realised that something like a Drakari Raider can deep strike 9 inches away, and then when they pivot, which they can do for free, it means they then have a 7-inch charge.
Yeah, it's like Games Workshop forgot that they have vehicles on a round base that are much larger than their own base.
Yeah.
So, yeah, which is madness.
So, as always, the competitive scene out there to ruin it for everybody else. So, the Tacoma Open, Mikey reports on, has recently put an FAQ and an update out. This is relevant, actually, because Mikey's employing the same rule for the tournament we're attending at the end of August.
Yeah.
And that is, anything on a round base that's more than 32 millimetres also has to pay the same 2-inch penalty, which makes perfect sense. And so what we have now is an FAQ to a rule that's been added to a core rulebook that only came out a year ago. And that's what got me thinking, right?
Yeah.
And this has also been confounded by the fact that obviously AOS has come out recently, and I know I'm sounding a bit like an AOS fanboy and a bit like an AOS shill right now, but guess what? It's been out for half a week and I don't have a 32-page clarification document yet.
There's still time.
Telling me how there is still time, telling me how everything works.
Yeah.
There's a couple of little FAQs and tweaks, but otherwise, the game, we are still using the core rulebook, and for the most part, we're just using the core rulebook.
Yeah.
Now, when we did that for our 10th edition content before launch, we then found out we'd done a load of stuff wrong. And now, I saw Daryl, before the stream actually started, was in chat saying, getting ready for his first game of 40k this weekend in a long, long time, trying to pull all the rules information together from all the separate sources is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, 10th edition under its launch was launched under the old 40k design studio. They have recently brought in a brand new manager, a new person who supposedly is going to mirror the manager that currently exists for the Age of Sigmar team, who we have met, who is an absolute fucking genius. If this is true, it does bode well for the future of Warhammer 40k on the off chance that he gets a grip of that team and that rule set the same way that the AOS guy has done it for Age of Sigmar. If that happens, then we could be in a really good place with Warhammer 40k.
Yeah.
So my question is, now he's come in, he's gone, because my personal opinion is, and people are going to throw at me, more tournament goers than ever before. It's irrelevant, really. Your mass consumer base can go down, and your tournament numbers can still go up. That's a possibility, right? I personally think that Warhammer 40k currently is a hot mess. Not only is it a hot mess, I also think that it's boring, it's kind of dull, it's not that interesting, and I think that we only have fun because of who we're playing and how we're playing the game.
Yeah.
And so I think that if I'm going to open this up and say this honestly, if I didn't have the channel, so I didn't have a Joe, I didn't play regularly against Brom and people like Paddy and stuff, I reckon my 40k at the moment would have gone in a cupboard.
Same.
Genuinely believe that. because I have the channel which we built on 40k, and because I have a Joe and a Brom, etc., it won't go in the cupboard because I'm actually having fun playing it.
Yeah.
Right? But if we didn't have the channel, it would have gone in the cupboard. So you could argue, well, maybe he wants to accelerate an Edtition update. But also, so on the one hand, yeah, okay, I think it's dull. I think it lacks flavour. I don't like the fact that it's in a million different places. One of the selling points of 10th edition was, we've heard that you're fed up with 8 million books. So here's 9 million books is what they did, essentially. In the long run, is what they've done, right? So you could argue that bringing it forward would be a positive for the hobby in general and positive for Warhammer 40k. However, you could also argue it's better that we give him the 2 years to get it right.
Yeah, yeah. But I think, so the problem is, right, with the whole indexing of 40k and its incredibly slow glacial release is that we're a year into it now and we've had 6 Codex releases. Right? Which means that by the end of, so for instance, like once you get 2, it's going to take 2.5 years at this current rate to get every Codex out, right? So how can you playtest for a new edition, 11th edition, when you've only basically got, when you haven't even got every Codex out? So you don't have an idea in terms of balance. Because your last Codex could come out and just break the game, and you've playtested a new edition based on the changes you need to make through 10th, and it's go, cool, this army's broken and it's ruined it. If you get all the Codexes out for a year and a half in, you've got a year and a half to play test the new edition to make sure it's right. Also, if you, let's say for instance, World Eaters are going to be the last Codex comes out.
It might happen.
Right? You've had 2.5 years of your indexed attachment.
Yep.
In an entire edition.
Yep.
Right? And everyone else, a Tyranid player has had an entire Codex and 6 detachments.
One of my biggest concerns as well is that we're typically seeing complete rules refreshes every sort of 3 years, every sort of 3 editions, sorry. Maybe 2 to 3 editions. So I don't think we're actually going to see a complete refresh for 11th edition, which actually, and here, this is a side question that's also relevant. Do we go, we accept the fact this is a terrible edition, we're going to complete refresh for 11th, despite the fact we've indexed for 10th, which I think will piss a lot of people off.
Yeah.
But also I think playing the same base game for a long time will continue to piss a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Or do we just accept the fact that you can't please all the people all the time? And actually, if there is an offering from GW that appeals to a person, So I think sometimes, I think partly this is because of the channel. We have this negative kind of impression of things. Like, I feel like what they've gone is they've gone 40k appeals to this crowd.
Yeah.
AOS appeals to this crowd. Heresy appeals to this crowd. Fantasy appeals to this crowd. And they're like, if you buy into one of those, we're happy.
Yeah.
Because you bought into one of them. We don't care. We don't want you to buy into all of them. Because I think I apply the logic of surely they want all the people to play all the games.
Yeah.
So if someone is in the Games Workshop ecosystem, if little old Joe goes to Games Workshop and he already plays 40k, surely the people in Warhammer want to sell him Heresy and they want to sell him AOS.
But you think like Games Workshop want you to play Warhammer because you played Warhammer 40k all of your life. They want you to play Heresy because they don't want you to give your money to warlords to play a historical game.
Right, true.
Right? They don't want you to give your money to Infinity or Corvus Belli because you want to play a sci-fi game, right? They want you to give them all the money because they want you to be like in that one community.
In the ecosystem,
in their
exactly.
ecosystem.
100%.
Because if you're giving money to Warlord, Corvus Belli, the people that make Malifaux, for instance, like that's bad because that's money going to other people. You want all the money, all the time. And I just think with 10th edition, I think they'd be better off next summer releasing an entirely new 10th edition Codex, 10.5.
The rulebook.
Yeah, so instead of going, here is the next balanced data slate, here is your FAQs for everyone, they go, all the existing codexes, we've updated them to have all the rule changes we made currently, right?
Yeah.
And then they go, and all those codexes will be free on the app. If the codex is, so if you haven't bought the codex already, or if you have bought the codex already, the entire app's going to be updated, and you have all those rules free. You don't have to buy the app to get those. And then they go, here is the new codex with all of the updates. There's going to be no balanced data slate. There's going to be no this. all the rules are being refreshed, reprinted, done. So it means if you are a new player coming into the community, you do only have to buy your Codex and the rulebook.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy the Codex, the rulebook, and then go to 7 different PDFs on their website.
Yeah. Now, to say all this, I think that the game at the moment is in a good place compared to where it was when it started. But the only reason why the game is in a good place is because we have a 30-page designer's commentary and rules updates, and we have FAQs and balanced data slates.
Yeah.
And so many factions do not look like they did when they were released in terms of their index. Actually, that can be true to some degree of codexes as well. I've seen people saying, okay, 10th edition isn't bad. In its current balanced state, 10th edition is a good game. In terms of fun and interesting, that's subjective, and I personally think it's not fun or interesting, but it is subjective, and I'm perfectly okay that people can be enjoying the game. But to suggest they've done a good job when the AdMech Codex doesn't look like the AdMech Codex anymore because of all the updates that have happened, or what's the other word? Eldar from Index Eldar doesn't look anything like Index Eldar anymore because of all the updates that have happened. Like, they're not doing a good job.
Realistically, they could take the AdMech Codex and cards off the website and the Eldar Codex or Eldar Index off the website and say, if you want the rules for these, they're for free on our app.
Do you not think it's flat shocking that they're still selling the AdMech Codex in its current state?
I think now it's just a 40 quid law book.
It absolutely is.
With pictures.
I think you're 100% right, Joe. And I've said this for a while. I think codexes should move more towards being painting guides and law books. Like the AOS ones? No, because the AOS ones still contain rules.
Yeah.
But and it'll be interesting to see what happens with AOS rules, because I'm curious as to whether AOS, having not been exposed to AOS before really 4th edition, I'm curious as to see whether AOS goes down the same path or not, and whether in 6 to 12 months the battle tomes, whichever ones are out, have been wildly changed because the balance is so bad. I feel like it's easier to balance AOS than it is 40k. Is my gut?
I think it's in AOS, most units, I'd say 90% of the units in the game have one weapon set.
Yep.
Right? And it's not like, we tend to use Death Company as an example. It's not a case of, I built my Death Company last edition with bolt pistol chainsword because those were the cheapest options. Now, they're all the same points, but the best version of them is a melter pistol and a power fist.
Yep.
Right? But that unit still has access to thunder hammers, flamer pistols, plasma pistols, power swords, chain swords, but they're all the same points. So how do you balance that unit?
Well, you don't.
You just can't.
You point it off of the most efficient loadout, and everything else becomes irrelevant.
You point it off of the most efficient loadout at the time.
Yeah, which means everything else becomes irrelevant.
Yeah. So when Oath of Moment was reroll all hits and reroll all wounds, everyone was like, Thunderhammers, because Thunderhammers do dev wounds. Now, Thunderhammer's much less efficient because you can only reroll hits. So you're hoping for 6s to wound. Whereas in AOS, they go, you have a sword and a shield, or you have a big fucking axe, or you have a sword, okay? And if a unit has multiple weapon options, which isn't very common, they all do 1 damage, they both have 2 attacks, 1 hits on a 3, wounds on a 4, 1 hits on a 4, wounds on a 3. Done.
Yeah,
right?
It's not massively...
Yeah. Or something goes, it hits on a 2, wounds on a 3, 1 damage, but lots of attacks. So like 3 or 4 attacks. Or it goes, you have 2 attacks, you hit on 3s, you wound on 2s, but it's damage 2. So do you want more attacks with low damage, or do you want high attacks, low damage, or low attacks, high
Essentially,
damage?
what we're saying is it's significantly easier to balance because there's significantly less variables.
Yeah.
And the other bonus to that is, and I'm going to say this as well, right? Because I don't like this, but I'm learning to love it. That's an odd thing to say, right? A flat to wound roll.
Yeah.
When I first saw that, I was like, the one thing I don't like about Age of Sigmar that they've got over 40k is a flat to wound roll, which means if whatever the thing is, wounds on 3s, right? It wounds on 3s whether it's hitting a goblin, or whether it's hitting a tree lord, or whether it's hitting Nagash.
Yeah.
It wounds on 3s, okay? And I was like, I don't like that. From a narrative perspective, I maintain that I don't like that. But I'm learning to love it.
Yeah.
Because again, from a balance perspective, so fucking easy.
They could go, this unit's way too fast and it's hitting way too hard, right? So we can reduce its wound roll, you know?
Whereas, obviously, because 40k still has a strength versus toughness table, and there's a vast number of toughnesses.
Yeah, and they also go, because there's practically no rerolls in the game, right? You take a lot of efficiency away from stuff.
Yeah.
Because once you introduce rerolling to hit, reroll to wounds, the efficiency of that unit just goes through the fucking ceiling.
Yeah.
Right? But it also ends up with situations where I rolled to hit, I've missed you all the time.
But the other thing as well is the efficiency in 40k at the moment, the efficiency when you add rerolls is often not taken into consideration in the points cost.
Yeah.
Because often those rerolls come from a separate source. So they point the unit based off of its individual efficiency and loadout. They maybe have some consideration as to stratagems that they have access to, but typically they don't point it off the fact that Abaddon can go reroll all hits and wounds. And if they do point it off the fact that Abaddon can go reroll all hits and wounds, that means that you take one of them that's useful and the other two aren't.
Yeah. Gasby also points out in AOS there's a lot less units on the table.
So we've seen so far.
Like you can build horde-based armies, but so for instance in AOS, 20 zombies for Soulblight Gravelords is 150 points. Right? 20 zombies for 150 points. And there's no limit on how many you can take.
There's no rule of 3 or rule of 6.
There's no rule of 3, no rule of 6.
Which is a balance thing that came in 8th edition.
But now, those zombies only move 4 inches, right? They don't do mortal wounds to hit. They don't do critical hits for auto wounding, right? They only do mortal wounds when they die, and that's on a roll of a 6, right? Their save is terrible.
Just zombies.
They're literally just zombies. Their use on the table is just to walk around and get in the way, right? They're not killing anything, not doing anything. And 3, the Verkor's Bloodborne are 150 points. 3 fast-moving vampires, which hit like a fucking truck, but they got fuck all save. So like the vampires can kill a lot of zombies. The zombies can kill the vampires. So their points are this kind of the same. Like if you put them against each other, it's just like net zero.
But also, I think part of the reason why, because I think Gaz is right at the moment, we're seeing that there's less models on the table, which means that it's easy to balance. But I think part of the reason why we're seeing that is because, I think for 40k players, this is going to be quite important. People miss Hero Hammer in 40k. Hero Hammer doesn't really exist in 40k like it used to. It still exists. You can still take Magnus and Angron and Gulliman and Abaddon. It doesn't really exist like it used to.
No, and characters are super powerful in AOS. And what you can get bogged down in is what I like about the new rule where to get a character and they have to take a detachment with them. The tax is if I take a character, they have to bring a unit with them.
Yeah, well, you don't have to.
You don't have to, you can bring all auxiliaries. But the negative to the auxiliaries is that you take longer to deploy, which means that you have an in-game effect of like
but you
my
can take
opponents at a distance.
You can take a character. So a regiment is one character, 0 to 3 units.
I think you have to take 1.
Oh.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So you can take 3 characters and then 2 units, and that's your army. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
But those characters are expensive.
They are.
Right?
But they also perform.
Yeah, they also perform well. But if you've got those powerful characters and you haven't got many units on the table, you're not scoring very well.
Correct.
So you have to build a balance within your army, which is something you don't see in 40k either. Right, I'm going to do some super chats because they're stacking up.
There's a few came through quite quickly.
Yeah, so thank you, Evan Tomonello, who says thank you. Thank you, Crumpets Panda, for 5 gifted memberships. I hope that your super glue forever onwards dries instantly.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah. Thank you, Sprugly. Right?
I've not said that name before.
I'm not saying you're a new person and a member. I reckon that's a random gifted. You might have a member on your own, which you didn't see. It says, not joined you for a month as I've been listening to the last half of the Heresy series. Your fault for recommending it. Glad to be back. What did I miss? Well, we're an AOS channel now. We don't do 40k.
That's not true, by the way.
That's not true. We are a 40k channel. The Heresy series is great. You're not missing out. It's great.
What is?
It's wonderful. But missing out on us and listening to Heresy series is a good thing. But coming in and then giving us money is perfectly acceptable.
The Heresy series. Yeah. I really want to start listening to the Siege of Terror, but there's another book that I found in my Audible library the other day where I was looking at what to listen to.
Yeah.
Which I think you recommended to me. Which I can't remember the name of, but it's like it says it's a fantasy or an Age of Sigmar horror book.
Oh, The one about the tree people.
Yeah, it's about Sylvaneth. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
the
looking for.
Sylvaneth that hang around. Oh, what is it called? I'll find it in a bit. So basically, it's a book about Sylvaneth that hang around outside deep water fastness and keep murdering all the humans that leave.
Yes,
Great,
that's the one.
Angry trees. Thank you for that. Thank you, Smavin. Lumberjack Joe must happen.
Lumberjack Joe?
We need to get to 100 members for that.
For Lumberjack Joe?
Yeah, for Lumberjack Joe.
I'm not sure of any place in Southampton where I can buy these things at a reasonable price either.
Charity shops. A tartan shirt is going to be everywhere. In a city that's got multiple motorbike shops in it, there's going to be tartan shirts.
Well,
there's a Primani as well.
There is a
big shop
Primani, there is, yeah. I don't like going in there though.
No? What? Because it smells of poor people.
I don't like people in general, Joe.
Yeah.
Primani is the worst kind of people.
I love Primark.
Because they all fight each other just for a fucking £3 t-shirt.
They don't fight all the time. Just sometimes it's just a deal you can't miss. People need to die for it. Thank you, Crumpets Panda. He says, does Lumberjack Joe get a +1 to hit against Sylvaneth? Yes. Yes.
He would take that,
I would take that.
you.
I'll tell you what, right?
He would take that.
Very kindly sent to me was the Underworld's
Use your words, Joe. Come on, you can do it.
Witch
believe
Hunter
you.
team,
Yeah.
who I shall find. Where have they gone? It is Sigmar. Auxiliary units.
Right.
All right. Where have you gone?
The Legends units now.
There's a Legends unit, but they've got a cool rule. Where are you? Where are you? Hexbane's Hunters, right? And they've got the rule of flamewood stakes, where they go around setting fire to stuff.
I thought they were just whipping out nice bits of fucking chunks of meat.
Yeah. And they've got a little dog that runs around with them. I'm a big fan. So,
Because of the little dog.
Yeah. Thank you, Will Stewart, for 5 gifted members.
Will, you want to calm down.
I hope.
He gifted 50 yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I hope that the next belt that you own lasts 3 years.
3 years isn't very long, Jay.
Yeah, but I only wore one belt for 3 years. I didn't swap it out for other ones. I'm not a person that owns multiple belts. So if you only own one belt, right? I hope, yeah.
I own multiple belts, but I reckon at least one of them I've had for like 8 years plus.
Yeah, but how often do you wear it?
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
One of my favourites.
You probably spent money on it. Whereas I get all mine from like Sports Direct. And
There's a lesson here.
yeah. The last one I bought, right, I worked for Sports Direct, never again. I was like £12, you know, that's not bad for a belt. And it's got the fake leather on both sides. But in the middle was this horrible, bitty kind of cardboard material. It literally disintegrated in like 3 days. Useless. Thank you, Adrian. I'm not going to go for the rest of your name because I always get it wrong. I hope that next time you fill up your petrol, because I know you do a lot of driving, you get it exactly on the 00000. It doesn't like tick over by a penny.
Oh.
That's just like to feel good. I hate it. Like when I go fill up, I'm like, it literally goes, 7, 8, 9, 2.
That's just how you count though.
Yeah. 7, 8, 9, 1. Or you get it on perfect 0, put it back in the thing, go to pay, and for some reason it's gone up by a penny.
It's because there's fewer than 9.
Ginger Steve, I do own 2 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
Lidl trainers.
Lidl trainers, yeah. Hey Ginger Steve, how are you?
Hello. He asked what we were building. So you're building Spite Rider Lancers, which are the Bugmen.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to build the Lancers or the Revenant Seekers at the moment.
Yeah. So I grabbed. This arrived in the post today, literally before I left, which is Gotrek Gurnison, because I'm on a bit of a dwarf hype now. So now I want to get a bunch of hammerers and the new Slayer dwarf guy. He looks sick as shit. I fucking love that model.
What for? For Caradon Overlord? Not Caradon Overlords, for...
They'd have to go into City and Sigmar.
Oh, okay.
Right. Although you could probably... all the dwarves can ally together.
I wonder if you can convert them for Fire Slayers or something.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Nice big round base.
I've got Eisenhorn to build. I've owned him for years, and he's just kind of sat on the shelf, and I grabbed it, and I was like, oh,
Is that Finecast?
It is Finecast, yeah.
I'm not sure we're allowed that on the stream.
We are, right? This is also Finecast. This is Forgefather Vulcan He-Stan. Right? I've also got Adress Agatone, who is hench. Fucking like it. Adress Agatone is one of the few Space Marine characters that you can do Hero Hammer with. Because he is an absolute fucking unit.
As you can tell, Joe didn't really know what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that doing this today was in fact Joe's idea.
And then Kado Ezekiel, or Kado Escobar.
Pablo
Escobar. Yeah. That's what I'm doing today. And I've got some March of War bases to make them all fancy.
As you can tell, Joe didn't really know what he wanted to do today, so.
Yeah. Well, realistically, I wanted to go and build. I thought, I've got to build some aggressors, but I couldn't be bothered to do that on stream because that's boring. It's not exciting for people to watch. So, thank you, Kazarian. Enjoy this setup. You stay classy, Mortal Realms.
Thanks, Kaz.
Thank you, Kaz.
You bloody beautiful human being.
Ginger Steve, £10 to not buy Joe a belt and instead to get him a piece of string like Compo from the last of the summer wine. But yes, the charity shop closed for the future. Like a bit of baling twine.
I like the idea of I'll pay you to not so he doesn't have a belt whilst he stood up playing 40k this evening.
Yeah, as my shorts spent all the time around my ankles.
It's just going to be slowly falling down all the street.
Yeah. Thing is though, because I don't have a belt on, I can't put stuff in my pockets.
No, you don't. You can't.
Because it just fucking drags them down. Ugh, it's gross.
Brother.
Thank you, Adrian. Adrian. What are you guys drinking? It should be healthy. I'm drinking...
It's apple and blackcurrant squash, Joe, is what we've got.
Yeah, apple and blackcurrant squash in my cool glass that I stole from a pub. And you're drinking the same.
I am, yeah.
Sorry, it's not exciting.
It's not exciting, but it's more healthy than Monster, Joe. Well done.
I drank a can of Monster on the way here.
I despair, honestly.
I'll never stop. I'll drink it in secret if I have to.
I despair.
I'll drive up onto the moors in the dark and drink it.
I'm trying to help him.
Whilst people are dogging, I'll just be sat there drinking Monster.
Yeah, you'll be one glowing in the fucking dark. I try and help him, chat. I try. He spits it back in my face.
Thank you, Dave B. What would you take from each edition to make 11th? The good rules.
This is where my argument starts to fall down a little bit on honesty, Dave, because I don't have an answer. So I don't want to be a person who sits here and professes that I know best in terms of rules, because I don't. Now, I'd love to be like templates and armor facings, but really, if you want that, well, you've got Heresy. You don't need templates and armor facings in 40k now because you have Heresy. I think what Games Workshop have done, if I'm honest with you, is they've gone, Heresy is for more hobbyists because you can pick a plasma pistol or a Volkite pistol and you get armor facings and you get templates, and it doesn't really work competitively. For certain, it doesn't really work competitively. But 40k is the more accessible, the more arcadey, the more user-friendly, the one that will bring people in. And I actually genuinely, honestly think that's probably a good choice. I legitimately think that's probably a very good choice from Games Workshop. I think that is something that they should have done. I think it's smart that they do that. I think it's smart. After 7th edition, I was gutted when 7th edition changed to 8th edition because I love 7th edition. It was a great edition. At the end, it was shit because of all the add-ons and extras that they chucked out, and all the formations that gave you free shit. There was a degree of lunacy that existed at the end of 7th edition.
That's why I left for Heresy.
Yeah, well, exactly. But there was a beauty in 7th edition in the early days. But they categorically did kind of ruin it towards the end. But you don't want that complex nonsense in 40k if you've also got it in Heresy. It kind of doesn't make sense to have two games that play the same, that are just skinned differently. That doesn't seem to work. So 8th edition, although I didn't like the difference, I could see the need for kind of making 40k the more accessible version. So in terms of what would I take, well, it's difficult because I still want 40k to be its own game. I don't want it to be Heresy in the 41st millennium. I don't want it to be AOS but with guns. I want it to be its own game. And I want Games Workshop, and this is where they have rules writers. They have people that are literally paid to write rules, and I want them to really take a step back and realise, how do we continue to make this fun? It's clear to me that they also want to make it a competitive game, which is also fine. I'm not saying competitive games or tournament people ruin it, But if you only focus your rules at those people and you only focus your updates at those people, that's where I think you do start to ruin it. But if you look at Age of Sigmar 4th edition, it does in fact look like a game that you can play competitively and also have fun with on the table. So maybe it's in the realms of releasing separate rules packs and things that aren't just focused on Leviathan or Prior Nexus, which is currently our only really way of playing. But really, I also want a degree. What I do want from 40k is I want a degree of flavour to come back to it. I hate characters joining units, only being able to impact that one unit. The second that unit dies, suddenly forget what they do. I don't understand why every character, including Space Marines, every single character, the second their unit dies, suddenly gets Alzheimer's and forgets how they work.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? We got into Warhammer because of the game, but also the story. The stories of all things throughout history is all about heroes doing heroic shit.
Yeah, agree.
Being cool, right? AOS has got heroes down perfectly, right? And 40k seems to have forgotten about it. So we've got heroes in the game, but they don't do anything. You know? Like, whereas Heresy has managed to work together a perfect combination of massed infantry that are kind of like a bit okay,
Yeah.
a bit good, a bit alright. But then you've got these cool named characters that when they go in and do stuff, it's like this cool heroic duel or a guy holding a building against a swarm of infantry, right? And that character might eventually get overwhelmed and killed. But he stood his ground, he did this cool thing. Whereas in 40k, you have incredible named characters which are fucking useless, right?
Well, that's the thing. When you get into 40k, if you're a narrative bunny, which a lot of us are,
Yeah.
when you get into 40k, you read stories about heroes, you read stories about cool characters, you read Jane Czar, which is literally about a Phoenix Lord.
Yeah.
Right? You read or listen to, because you can audiobook obviously as well, but you read and listen to all these stories and they tell you a story about an individual who is exceptional. And I want to be able to replicate exceptional individuals on the tabletop. And you kind of can't at the moment in 40k. Like, hey, here's your cool Space Marine captain. He's a Space Marine he's risen to the ranks of captain.
Yeah.
Right? He's risen to the ranks of captain, and what happens is he gets a semi-shit power sword that in 40k, because of the mass expansion of toughness values and wound numbers, is shitty power sword, which is probably strength 6 minus 2/2.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything really. And then what he does is he lets you use a stratagem for free. Cool. Well, now that's not true anymore either. That's all wrong now. That Codex is invalidated. He doesn't do it for free anymore, just reduces it by 1 because they already fucked that rule up. If you think about the number of changes that have happened since the launch of 10th edition, Games Workshop have unconsciously admitted they did a fucking shit job.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, if you look at the ruling in the app, it still says that this character allows you to do a stratagem for 0 CP, right? So they've updated It doesn't say it makes it 1 CP cheaper.
I think
So
it does.
the FAQ says that a character that has this rule actually has this rule instead. We'll have a gander. Oh no, I've got to put his booties on. Hang
His
on.
booties.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more super chats to go through. Sorry, Dave. It's a shit answer because I don't actually know what I would take to make the game better.
I would give back loan op to characters that when they're not in a unit for a start. Right, so if you're within 3, if you're not in a unit and you're within 3 inches of a unit, you can't be targeted unless you're within 12 inches.
I don't want characters in units.
I don't mind the characters being in units. That's not a problem. If a character's outside of a unit, he should still have his buffing ability on himself, right?
Agree.
Right,
Strong agree.
right.
By the way, you have to take a shot every time Joe says the word right.
Right. So that's what I'd automatically give
It's
him.
going to try really hard now not to.
Also, I would bring back heroic intervention for characters.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Right?
You mean heroes?
Right. Heroes being heroes and doing hero stuff.
Yeah.
Also, what really bugs me, make Mephiston good. Like,
That's a very specific one.
I was thinking about this yesterday and it really bugged me. Right? He's called the Lord of Death.
Yeah.
He's the most murderous blood angel in all of existence. The best librarian in all of the Space Marine chapters. Right?
Yeah.
Everyone's
Right.
Everyone's terrified of him.
Yeah.
He can't use his psychic powers to get out of a wet paper bag.
He can't, no.
He can't fight his way out of a cardboard box.
No.
He's useless. Right?
Right.
Right. I'm going to find this rule. Terminator Captain, look at rules, abilities. Lord of Chaos. Once per battle round, you may be targeted with a stratagem for 0 CP.
Yeah.
And that's for the same for captains. It's not 0 CP, he just makes the stratagem cheaper by 1 command point. So they haven't even bothered to update the app with the new rule.
I thought it is in there somewhere.
No. It's just laziness.
It is a little bit, mate, yeah.
Sorry, rant over. Right.
Thanks, Dave, anyway, I appreciate you.
Thank you, Talva, or Teuva, for 1 gifted membership.
Hero.
Thank you, League Seeks, for a super chat. Oh, I think it's coming. Tempted back to boarding patrol by the new rulebook.
Probably not.
No.
So if they send us the book, I will look at the book. I'm not going to just write it off immediately. And I will look at the book with an intent that we'll play it on stream because we had lots of fun with it for a few weeks when it first came out. I would be incredibly surprised if they solved the problems that we had with it.
Yeah, what that book needs is an entire re-points costing of the units in the game. Because in 40k, I've explained this before, but you might not have heard it before, in 40k, shooting units have a higher points tax than combat units because shooting is more powerful in the game. Boarding actions, shooting units are shit.
Well, I mean, it got to a point where it was called boring actions.
It was so shooting units in boarding actions have no function because of the map is really small and there's lots of tight corners. And you can only shoot at what you can see. And so scratching my knee. Whereas close combat units are super fast. You can't really work around them, and they're super cheap. So if you're an army, the models that you own are prevalently shooting units, and you play boarding actions, if your friends or if anyone turns up with close combat units, you're just going to lose because if the combat player goes second, they win every time.
That was what we found.
Yeah, we found that the combat army always wins if it goes second, and then it's 50-50 if it goes first. So what needs to happen is the shooting units need to get cheaper, and the combat units need to become more expensive, or if they release the book, it needs to come with lists of units that you're allowed to use. So it actually limits you in what you can take.
Yeah.
Because it's boarding actions, you are fighting in space.
Well, I also think that it should have an adapted points cost for boarding actions.
Yeah.
Because a unit of Death Company in boarding actions is significantly more efficient than it is in a big game of 40k.
Yeah.
So arguably, what you should do in boarding actions is you should drop the points of shooting units, or you should increase the points of combat units. That being said, I think for the majority of 40k armies at the moment, you can take too much. You take too much stuff.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if you think about 40k, here's one of the things. Okay, so go back to Dave's question. Actually, here's a relevant point. Go back to Dave's question, where he was like, "What parts would you take?" Here's one of the things. Here's one of my favourite things about new AOS. One of my favourite things in the world about new AOS: the fight phase.
Yeah.
Right. When we're in the fight phase, I charge 6 units into you, Jay.
Yeah.
I pick a unit to fight, and then you pick a unit to fight, and then I pick a unit to fight, then you pick a unit to fight. In 40k at the moment, both shooting phases and fight phases, with the exception of a 2 CP interrupt, are pretty oppressive.
Yes.
If I charge with 6 units, because it's turn 3 and I've made the middle of the board everywhere, I get to fight with all those units before you get to, unless you've got the opportunity to interrupt for 2 CP. If it's my shooting phase and I'm Tau, I get to fire my whole army, there's nothing you can do about it.
Nope.
Now the thing is with 40k, you need to keep a significantly sized shooting phase in, because that's what makes it sci-fi over fantasy, arguably. But you can stand there and volley into your opponent without fear of any kind of retaliation.
Yeah.
And I've seen too often players be tabled in 2 turns to shooting, and they just don't stand a chance.
Nope. And the problem is a lot of the combat armies don't have the tools to defend themselves versus shooting. Or the tools that they have got are way too expensive.
Yeah.
For example, World Eaters, no one runs Berserkers. Because
This guy This guy does.
That guy. But most people don't run berserkers because they die too quickly. Everyone just runs 8-bound because they move 11 inches a turn, right, and then charge. And they can advance and charge, and that's quite tough because they can take a bit.
But is this a problem with the community now then? So
no. But what my point being, before we go on to that one very quickly.
Carry on. I get excited.
So what they need to do, right, is they need to reduce the points cost of rhinos, because rhinos in World Eaters are way too many points, and rhinos in the game in general are just a bit fucking useless. It's just a box that carries models. If you make the rhino cheaper, 30, 40 points, right? Then you go, well, I might take 10 berserkers and 2 characters because I can get them across the board now. Right? And Games Workshop sells a lot more rhinos.
Do you not think that that's potentially an issue with the player base as much as it's an issue with the game system? So the game system doesn't help, don't get me wrong, because when the game system says this is significantly more, well, it doesn't say it, but when the game system is in a situation where this is significantly more efficient than this, there's no point taking option B ever because option A is so fucking good.
Yeah.
So the game system isn't helping because it's put that out there, but then the player base is like, well, so I'm never taking option B then.
Yeah. But
I still run berserkers because for me, World Eaters without berserkers is wrong.
But that's because Games Workshop, and I'm sad to say it, but I was part of the problem when I was with another channel, is that competitive 40k is taken over. When you go out to events, people are kind of brainwashed into the sense of, I have no value unless I'm winning.
Yeah.
I'm not having fun unless I'm the best. We're not teaching people to be, I'm a loser, you know? It's okay to lose games. It's okay to not win all the time.
We can expand that to our children at school.
It's perfectly fine to go to an event, lose all the games, but it doesn't matter because you and your opponents had fun.
I agree.
Nowadays, it's if you do this, you are given points. Those points then put you on a scale, which then evaluates your level of importance within our community for this year.
Yeah.
Right? So you go to one tournament every 6 months, you go, I have to do really well because I want to be part of that leaderboard, right? So you'll just play to win. Or there'll people be like, oh, I only get to go to RTTs, I'm a parent, I can't go to massive tournaments, so I have to win these RTTs to get given those points, therefore I will have value because I will be better than other people. What we need to say is like, I'm going to go to a tournament, I really like running this army, I don't care it's shit, I just want to roll dice. And those people are like a dying breed within this community.
I've been to tournaments where in a 5-turn tournament game, we've told a narrative story.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's the shit I love.
Yeah. Because like, what I've said to a lot of people, they're like, oh, what are you doing when you go to the Great Hall event, right, next month? Is it next month? And I'm like,
Great Hall event.
Yeah. I'm not going to win that event, right? And the points that I get from attending said ITC event are not going to be of any value for my score for the ITC, right? I'm not gonna win the ITC. I'm not good enough. But what I can do is I can go to this event, play 6 games, probably get pissed because I haven't in like 2 years, and just have a laugh, be stupid.
The only thing that concerns me, so I'll be honest with you, I got some emails through from Mikey recently for this tournament, right?
Yeah.
And this morning there was another email that came through. I forgot I should have mentioned this, and he put this email out. Because I think he's got some tickets left to sell. Yeah. And it's about his prize support. And it's literally the only thing about the tournament that concerns me. Because what brings out the worst in people?
Money.
When there's a cash fucking prize.
Yeah. And the thing is, the people, money changes people's way of playing at tournaments. Because you have some people who are really fucking good at the game. And they're like, I've won the last 4 tournaments I go to. I'm probably going to win this one. I get a bit of money out of it, right? But then you're going to get people who aren't well financially off, and they're like, I really fucking need 500 quid. So I'm going to go and play my heart out, and when I come to playing people at the table, I'm going to do everything I can to win that game, right? And then the thing is, like, emotion, sportsmanship tends to fly out the window then.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I need 500 quid. If my opponent does anything wrong, I'm calling them a night.
I mean, I think if anyone spent 70 odd quid on a ticket to go and win 500 quid, they're probably stupid anyway.
Yeah.
To be fair, Joe.
But
I don't think that's the.
but that's where gambling comes in.
But cash prize does bring out the worst in people typically.
Whereas, I think when you go to if there is money, I think you need to go to a tournament expecting not to walk away with anything. If you go to a tournament, any tournament, this is not just a cash prize one, saying I'm not going to win it, right? I'm just going to go and play some games, play my warhammer, going to do my best. I'm not going to win it, and then it's just like prepared to be disappointed. You'll never be disappointed, you know, or prepare the worst. You're never disappointed. So if you do win the games, if you go 3-2, you're like I've won 3 games. I'm really happy about my result. You know, you might win the best painted if you painted the army really nicely.
John McCardle was a fucking daddy.
He is our daddy.
20 gifted.
I wish he was my dad. Next time, John, can you come here? Can you swaddle me like a baby?
How many does that put us on? I don't think we're going to get you a lumberjack shirt today.
Thank you, John McCardle.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
You beautiful. You. What do you wish for him?
I wish that next time he goes to McDonald's, the milkshake machine is on.
Oh, I do like a McDonald's milkshake. I've had one for ages.
And, John, because it's you, I hope that they have plastic straws.
Oh.
Can you imagine how much better... McDonald's milkshakes really started tasting their worst when they went to paper straws. Because you can't drink your McDonald's milkshake for the first 10 minutes if you got it. Because it'll be solid inside. So you put the straw in and it literally compacts because you've been sucking on it so hard. You got lockjaw.
Joe knows all about that, chap.
I do, yeah.
Thank you, John. Love you. Milkshake machine on and a plastic straw is a pretty goated.
Says, I think I'd prefer the wording, I don't need to win this tournament. Yeah, you don't need to win this tournament. You don't need to win it. You just need to go and have fun.
But how... Is it possible, is it easy to go and just have fun in this current edition of the game? Do you think it lends itself more to people being douchey at tournaments?
I think the problem is the way the game plays, it's very, very structured, and there is, because of the competitive mindset of what the game was designed under, there are steps that every player has to follow, right? I deploy my army. When I write my army, I have to take a unit that can hold my back home objective. I need to take a unit that can stop people deep striking. I have to take a unit that can outflank. I have to take a unit that can deep strike into corners to do actions. I have to have a unit that can stand in the middle of the table and take hits. Right? Everything that goes into your army is designed specifically to do secondaries. Right? Whereas if you go to a tournament like me and run an absolute stupid army, like what army have you bought, Joe? 2 Land Raider Redeemers, 40 Intercessors, I push forward, right? There is no going backwards. My home objective is nothing but a mystery to me, you know?
This is but a memory.
Yeah, and I found I had 5 great games.
Yeah.
I only won 1.
Who cares?
But I was like, I had great fun. My opponents were mind-boggled by the process of this guy is a nutter, because he's bought an army that just pushes into me, right? And they had loads of fun. Obviously, it helped that they won their games. They were happy about winning. But also, they were like, this is a concept that my opponent is having fun because he's pushing models around. I'm having fun because I'm doing all right. And when I play with these stupid armies, I tend to put a bit of narrative into it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm here to do this. I want to kill this person. My personal victory in this game is for Gabriel Seft to murder as many people as he can in combat.
Yeah.
Done, you know?
See, I've always gone to tournaments and been like, I don't care where I placed, how many favourite game votes did I get?
Yeah.
That's what I care about.
Yeah, so I think that's what you need to do at events, and I think 10th edition needs to kind of head back in that direction. Games Workshop used to do really good competitive events. Right? They were Throne of Skulls that used to do it.
I've never been.
So Throne of Skulls was normally a competitive tournament, but there was a spin on it.
Okay.
So there was one event which worked terribly, and it was really, really stupid, but it was hilarious, right? You were broken into teams, so Imperium, Xenos, Chaos, right? And for every model that you killed in your opponent's army, you counted how many skulls it had on it, because it was like a corn event. It was like skulls for the Skull Throne. So if you killed I don't know, a Space Marine captain. He's got a skull on his sword hilt. He's got a skull on his chest. He's got a skull on his helmet. He is worth 3 skulls to you, right? Which is great. So like even like a guardsman had a skull on his lasgun, he was worth.
What about his actual skull?
I think they were counting heads as well. But the problem was, how many skulls are on Chaos Space Marines? They're literally covered in them. It was weighed so heavily against Chaos for a Khorne event, it was mental. But it was like a little side plot thing to do at the same time. There was another event I did where all infantry, when it died, you rolled a dice every turn, and on 4+ it came back.
I like crazy stuff.
It was it's like an Ascension event. So there was someone who
but
won.
I feel like they can't do that anymore because ITC.
Because ITC, yeah. But that's the problem. ITC has put itself in a position where no event matters unless you get ITC points from it.
Do you think ITC and the tournament scene have ruined Warhammer 40k?
I wouldn't say it's ruined it. It's made people want to play the game more because people want the value of being the best. But it has killed the I'm going to this event because it's near my house and I want to have fun. There needs to be ITC needs to be split into competitive and narrative. And the narrative side of events doesn't give you points for winning or placement. It gives you hobby score. It gives you best player score, favourite game vote score, favourite army score. So you can still go get your points to go into a chart, but you just go in to have fun. The emphasis of this tournament league is enjoyment. Right? You could probably get another one, which is TO score. So like you have like a 5-star, like a Michelin style scoring, right? So you go to a tournament, it's in a barn, it's got free beer, the terrain's really nice, right? They've got a hog roast on, 5 stars. Super great fun. We're all here to have fun.
Did you need anything other than the hog roast for that 5 stars, Joe?
No. I come to a field.
There's a hog roast. I'm happy. 5 star.
Right? So then you go. But when you go to a tournament that's held in a village hall, the guy's who's been running events for a while. It's got polystyrene walls, a shoe, a cardboard box as terrain, right? There's no real prizes, and you go there and get your shit kicked in for 3 games. You go 1-star event. You put an event on. He tried something, but he's not put the effort, right? You go to a big GT. It's in a sports hall. It's got neoprene mats. It's got the cheap. It's got the big L-shaped wooden terrain or the plastic terrain. It's got decent price support, 3 or a 4. You know, because then it means that
I like
TOs put effort in.
I like this concept of grading tournaments.
Yeah. So it means that if you're a guy who's put the effort in of having 20 mats, 20 sets of terrain, it's stored in your garage. You do it in your local village hall once every 4 months, but you're a premium event. You could be up there with the big boys. But it also means that it gives a level for the large, like your LGTs, LVOs, it gives them a bar to hit. And that's a bar that they don't want to drop below.
Will Stewart has just gifted another 20 gifted memberships, Joe.
Thank you, Will Stewart.
20 more. That's 75 in 24 hours so far.
Yeah. I hope, Will Stewart, next time you drive to town, there is a parking space available as you go up to it in the high street.
I don't know if they have the same sorts of high streets in New Zealand.
It's just sheep, innit? I hope when you're riding your sheep to town, there's a poster you can tie it to.
I hope that you get to own a house in Hobbiton.
Oh, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Next one. I ran on for a while there.
You did, yeah. It's an interesting discussion, though.
But
I legitimately don't know. Like, I don't know how I would solve 40k right now. I'm really torn. I don't know if I want them to accelerate a new edition. I don't know if I want to give this guy time to get in and understand his audience. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know the things I would take from other editions. I just don't know. I do know that if it wasn't for the people I get to play with on a what the fuck? If it wasn't for the people I get to play with on a literal weekly basis, I'd be hating it right now personally.
Yeah.
And I said last Friday on stream, I did a stream on Friday that was like, I have had so much fun this week and I hadn't touched 40k.
No. Our best numbers week for a long time was was when John was here, and that's why people were really happy that John came.
Yeah.
But we didn't play any Warhammer 40k that week.
We didn't, that's what I'm saying. And I had so much fun.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, has 40k just lost some of the fun factor? And I think the argument is, for me personally, the argument is probably yes, it has lost some of the fun factor.
And we need to bring that fun in.
It was hard.
Orgies.
When the missions are like, stand here and do an action, and you can't shoot, and you can't charge, and you can't fight, just stand here and do an action.
Sexy.
And move into the middle and do an action. And someone said to me recently, yeah, but is Caesar Centre not the same? No, it's not. Caesar Centre isn't the same. Because although Caesar Centre requires you to be within 3 inches of the centre and not in combat, you can charge onto the centre, kill everything, and then still be within 3 inches of the centre and not in combat. It becomes a gamble. It isn't stand in the middle, do nothing, do an action.
How about, right?
Actions need to fuck off, is one of the things I'm saying here. One of the things we need from 11th edition, fuck that action nonsense off. It's bollocks.
How about we do a bit of deck building? So we take secondaries out of the decks. Some of them. So when we do a narrative game, like holding a position, holding a place, going and doing a thing, you're not forced into a position where you have to go off and do an action. Like this pile of arbitrary bricks needs to have a servo skull. Impregnate it, you know?
Impregnate?
Yeah. Implant it. I don't know. Words and shit.
This sort of pressure fits on quite nicely.
It's all right. And that was all from Leaked Weeks. Right, so that Colton D. Having only played Horus Heresy and 10th edition, my view is limited, but I think 10th is what they say it is. Simplified, not simple. A lot easier to teach. It is if you play it basically.
I would agree with you if there wasn't FAQs, erratas and clarifications all over the place. I would say that they would have hit that brief. If you were still able to play out the rule book, I would say they'd hit that brief, simplified, not simple. But now that there's different references to how rules should work and how rules should interact, and there's add-ons and takeaways all over the shop, I don't think it's even simplified anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think, because the problem is, as I pointed out earlier, Games Workshop has changed the core rules on how captains work in terms of they don't make a stratagem 0 CP, it's -1. It's -1 command point to the cost. The codexes, the app, and the index cards, and the data cards that you bought when you bought your codex all say makes a stratagem 0 CP.
Exactly.
Right? So you can only know that it's now -1 by having looked at that PDF. If you're a 12, 14-year-old kid, you go with your mates into Games Workshop, you buy the box, you buy the starter box set, and you go and play the game. You are technically playing the game wrong. So it's like you could play the game and you can have fun playing that game, but you're not playing the same game as everyone else. And that's where a lot of the issues are coming in.
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave B. He says, state of 40k and Old World, I've been ready to walk away for a while now, sell up and find new hobbies. Old World has crushed me, to be honest. That's fanboy of 1985 to 86. It was a disappointment.
Old World was a catastrophe. It still is a catastrophe in my opinion.
Old World, I don't think will be in the best version of itself until all the armies are out. I don't think Old World will be the game that Games Workshop envisioned it for another 2 years at their current release rate. Once all the books are out, all the armies are out, and they're getting into the cycle of releasing new sculpts, that is when the game will be perfect for it. But like I know Dave's been looking at AOS, right?
It's such a good game.
I think we do what we've done. We love 40k. We're a 40k channel. We play 40k all the time. But we're not all in on that. We are doing other things at the same time.
I have tidied all my 40k away at home. I had a bunch of it on my desk. I've tidied my World Eaters I was building and my Dark Angels I was building away, right, on my desk. What I haven't done is get rid of it. And I won't get rid of it.
Yeah.
I absolutely won't get rid of it. And I won't get rid of it because I will forever love 40k. I love the narrative. I love the rules. I know people, there's a friend of mine, John, right? John used to run a channel called Visicast. And John was how I started getting into YouTube, actually. I was filming games with him on YouTube long before I did this. And it was him, he was the reason why I launched the channel. And after 7th edition was nuked and 8th edition came out, he wound the channel down. We did a bunch of games on the channel and then he wound the channel down and stopped doing it because he hated 8th edition compared to 7th. He's still got his 40k armies.
Yeah.
He still has them. And when 9th edition came, he came over to my house with his Raven Wing and we played a game.
Yeah.
And when 10th edition came out, he came over to my house with his Raven Wing and we played a game. And on both occasions, he went, nah, still not for me, still don't like it. The Alpha Strike's too strong. And he's not wrong there necessarily. Yeah. The rules are a bit dull, actions are boring, I don't like it. Excitingly, he's going to be coming back soon to streaming.
Yeah.
He's never done streaming before. He's going to come back to streaming, come back to YouTube because he's agreed to come on and play AOS with us frequently.
Yeah.
He fucking loves AOS, Joe, and he's got a couple of cool AOS armies. So we'll be seeing him on camera again in the near future. I need to talk about starting scheduling him in and adding him to the group and stuff because he's a fucking legend. But he's got no interest in 40k. But he's still got his 40k armies. He still likes 40k. He still likes the concept of 40k and the narrative behind it. Doesn't like the rules right now. And I feel like I'd be, without the channel, I could be in a similar position. I still love the narrative of the 41st millennium. The narrative of the 41st millennium. I'm not a sci-fi person. I've said this so many times from the day in which the channel was launched to now. I'm not a sci-fi person. I've always been more of a fantasy person than a sci-fi person. And yet 40k, Warhammer 40k and the 41st millennium gripped me because the narrative is cool as shit.
Yeah.
And it's grim and it's dark and it's evil and it's cool. And I love that. I really, really love that. So that's going nowhere. We'll continue covering it on the channel. We're going to continue doing a lot of content about Warhammer 40k. We'll continue covering all of the releases. The channel's not changing. We've not suddenly become we joke about it. We've not suddenly become an AOS channel. That's not what's happened. But I personally believe, honestly, that Warhammer 40k is currently, in my personal opinion, a shit game. And it's a personal opinion. The thing is, I have to stress this as well. Subjective. Whether a game is good or bad is subjective.
Yeah.
There is no fact. When I tell you that I think it's shit, I'm not telling you it is shit. I'm telling you I think it is. And I don't like it compared to games I've played, and I've been playing since probably 4th edition. And I don't think it's a great game, personally, right now. And I think they've done a very bad job. I am also optimistic about the future. And this is why the whole title existed for this particular stream. Do we rush out a new edition to try and fix the current problems, which could inherently create more issues, more problems, and solve less issues than it creates? Or do we give him the full 2 years? Do we suffer through the next 2 years? Well, we're going to continue playing 40k.
Yeah.
I'm not doing a Pardo. I love Steve. He's so disenfranchised with Warhammer 40k right now. He's flat not playing it anymore. I'm not going to do that. He's been selling all his armies, yeah. I'm not going to do that. That's not me. 100% not me.
Yeah, I still love 40k. Like, I prefer AOS, but I still love 40. I play at least once a week on the channel, and I tend to play once a week with someone else. I'm still playing all the time. I still want to go to events. I still do events. I still enjoy doing it, but I found a different way to enjoy it.
Yeah,
and that's the key thing. It's like why I'm doing the Salamanders now, because I want to play Hero Hammer, and I think Salamanders have probably got the best heroes to do it with. But also, I want to try something different.
Yeah.
I tried White Scars. Outriders, shit. They die so quickly. I've never been so disappointed in an idea I've ever had. Right?
No, yeah. I'm not massively surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. Just learn. You've got to learn to play and have fun differently. Don't listen to the internet, because the internet will say you're having fun wrong.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed.
And all 20 people that tell you you're having fun wrong will have different opinions on how to have fun.
Yeah, and you don't listen to any single one of them because they're all virgins.
Yeah. Only listen to us.
Yeah.
Thank you,
only half of us are virgins.
Thank you, Templar. Games Workshop have taken more than they added. A lot went to Legends for no reason. Some just don't have rules. The power level is awful and the units are not cool. Well, I think getting used to units going to Legends is something we're going to have to deal with going forward, right? As a Guard player, talking to other Guard players, right? I haven't seen the rules. I'm going to say this now. I haven't seen the rules. I don't know what they're playtesting. I don't know what they're doing. I wouldn't get comfortable with your existing Forge World units, right? Because if you look at Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, Tau, right? Who else had a Codex? Sisters don't really count. Admech, you know. Anyone that's got a unit, any units that come out of Forge World, they've all gone apart from the really, really big things, right? Necrons have lost all of their stuff as well. They only have access to the big. So I think Forge World is moving to a position where it only does super heavies and elite character units at best, but mostly it's just super heavies.
Forge World is going, Jay.
Yeah, it's going.
Forge World is just going to become specialist games.
Yeah. So if you're a Krieg player, for instance, I would imagine, unless they get a new plastic model, you're not going to have Krieg models anymore. Like those artillery pieces, the rapiers, gone.
Rapier?
Yeah. So I think I would get if you regularly use any Forge World unit for your army and you haven't got a new Codex yet, probably going the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah, I think Forge World, I think they're repurposing Forge World. I think Forge World is just going to become specialist games.
Yeah.
And you'll have the main design studio for 40k, the main design studio for AOS, and you'll have specialist games. And I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think Forge World's focus is going to be that. And I don't think it'll even be called Forge World anymore.
It would probably just turn into specialist games.
Specialist games, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know for definite, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's hard, like, I agree with some of what was in that super chat, to be honest with you. I mean, so taking more than they gave I'm not surprised. The Legend, I don't necessarily disagree. The Legends thing is interesting. Like, I get them wanting to reduce range sizes, and I get them wanting to reduce the number of rules they produce for certain armies. But hey, we're going to remove all these data sheets from Space Marines, and then we're going to add all these data sheets to Space Marines. So you've still got an obnoxiously sized set of rules, which makes it very difficult for us to balance. And actually, if you look at the majority of Space Marine factions, this happens. Here's a problem with Space Marines, right? This happens all the time. Okay, Space Marines come out in any edition at the moment. The last three are more poignant, but in any edition, Space Marines come out, and then you go to a tournament, and you look at 10 people that are playing Space Marines, and you look at the differences in their list, and 9 times out of 10, there's minimal differences. And they've got 90-odd data sheets, or whatever it is, or 80-plus data sheets in their Codex, and yet they're all running the same 15 to 20 units. Every single one of them. Because there's no way you can build a Codex with 80 data sheets in it and say, we can make every single data sheet compelling as a choice. It's impossible. You can't do it.
No.
The only range that comes close to that in the Mortal Realms is Sigmar, and I don't know whether they've managed to do it there. I think they probably have struggled again with Sigmar. I was looking through it the other day when we were playing on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I get Space Marine vibe. I'd rather take that over that. I'd rather take that over that. I'd rather take that over that.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of stuff in there. So a lot of people complained about the Sacrosanct stuff going to Legends, right? Which I get it. When you've spent any money on your product and you've built and you've painted and you've got ready to play and you've used it, and they go, yeah, cool, by the way, this isn't going to be usable in the future. Although the AOS team did do it in a slightly better way because they went, you've got 12 months of it and full rule support first, but then we're going to Legends it. So I get people being annoyed by it, but if you're never going to take certain choices,
Yeah.
then you might as well not have them.
Oh, it's fucking plastic.
Who's this?
I thought it was resin.
Who's this?
Gotrek. It's got 2 bases.
Gotrek. I knew he was plastic somehow. Is he supposed to have 2 bases?
I think he's got his fancy scenic base, and then he's got because he's got like a pile of Skaven that he stands on.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
How many gifted are we on, Joe? Do you know?
many gifts? I could do Joe maths.
Do you want me to go
1, 5 is 6.
It is, yeah.
Plus 5 is 11. Plus 5, 16.
Yeah.
17. 17, 22, 27,
Okay.
27, 32,
Right.
37,
Okay.
and 47, 57,
Yeah.
67, 77,
Yeah. He's doing good. He's adding 20 minutes.
77.
77. Oh, we're doing all right.
Yeah.
We're doing okay.
Yeah, I need to go back to. We need to keep answering messages.
23 away, chat, from at some point in the near future, me having to find Joe a lumberjack shirt and some fucking suspenders.
And a bra.
They call suspenders for men?
No, those are for the ladies. Those will hold up the tights and stockings and stuff.
What are they called then? Braces.
Braces, yeah. I think it depends on where you are from in the world.
I would like to see him in some suspenders, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Thank you, Kazarian. Oh, no, Castellan. Too many Ks. They're basically the same person.
Kazarian will take umbrage to that.
This is a rare stream on my actual day off.
Oh,
Welcome.
you got a day off, mate, for a change.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Cass? Let us know what you're up to, mate. Chilling out? Hobbying? Going on one of your walks? Annoying people on the internet? You're good at that?
Yeah. That's why he's here. Right. Thank you, Stick Monkey. Bar stewards owe me a refund for my Admex Codex.
Yeah, so I'd love to be one of those like fucking warriors who's like, everyone email Games Workshop. But the truth be told, they're going to tell you to fuck off because they're Games Workshop. They literally don't care. I think that's one thing that people need to just get in their heads. I personally believe they just don't give a fuck. As long as people are spending money, they don't care. So when people send them these super angry emails saying, my codex lasted 5 minutes and you neutered it already, you owe me a refund, they're going to say, tough, you bought it, you can use the digital rules are up to date, get over it. They don't give a shit. And let's be honest, the majority of us, on the whole, if we're honest, will probably go back to them in the future and buy another product. It's just the circle of life for Warhammer. Complain about them treating us like shit, continue to buy their products once they continue to treat us like shit. That is what happens. I'm not trying to personally attack anyone. We all do it, myself included, right? Games Workshop are a pain in the arse sometimes, and they really fucking annoy me, and I get really angry. So what I did was I built a whole business and a channel on Games Workshop. So we all do it. I'm one of the worst. That being said, I wish there was something we could do to hold them to account more for things like the Admech Codex or the Leagues of Votann Codex in 9th edition, which was a completely different book by the time it came out. And they continued to sell the incorrect version for the whole edition of the game. It doesn't sit right with me that if you spent £35 on a Codex in 10th edition that's Admech, which now, because of the balanced data slate, isn't even correct. There's lots of changes to rules, changes to weapons profiles, changes to data sheets. It's just flat not correct now. I feel like there should be something in place for you to turn around to them and say, this isn't good enough. Unfortunately, their answer is going to be, we give you digital rules as well. There's a code in the back of the book that you can put into the My Warhammer app. You get your digital rules, and when we change the rules as per the balanced data slate, your digital rules will update. So you have the latest updated versions because of the digital rules. That's what their answer is always going to be, unfortunately, but I don't like it. But then maybe it's our fault. Maybe as a community, I'm a book lover when it comes to rule sets. I like to. So you watched me earlier, right? I got the cards out for Sylvaneth because we have the cards here already, thanks to Games Workshop, so that I could look at the difference between Revenant Seekers and Spike Rider Lancers side by side next to each other, right? I do the same with a book. I'll get a book, I'll find the page, and I'll be like, I could take this unit or that unit. I could take Exalted 8-bound or normal 8-bound. And I'll have the page, and they'll either be on the same page or they'll be, and I'll be flicking between the two. Right, that's got that, that's got that, that's got that, that's got that. I much, much, much prefer physical rules in my hand. I absolutely do. So I'm one of these people, when I say it's partly our fault, I am one of these people that much prefers physical rules in my hand. And I would prefer to go to an event with a codex and just play with my codex. 100% that would be me. I would always be that person. But it also is 2024, and maybe it's just me being a bit archaic and old-fashioned because I've always done that, and perhaps we should be actually pushing them to go fully digital with a rule set. Maybe that's what we actually need from them, so that when they do update it, we don't feel so hard done by. But I think the AOS app, here's the other thing, right, that's really bizarre. Here's a criticism for Age of Sigmar. The AOS app is a reskin of the 40k app, but worse. And I don't understand how they've managed to make it so much worse. It's not bad by any stretch of imagination. It's not a terrible app, but it's worse than the 40k one. There's no battle bunker, which is probably a feature that they haven't yet developed and is in progress. I can't imagine that's not coming. But like, I wanted the other day to look at, I think it was like a heroic trait or something.
Yeah.
As I clicked like 5 little drop downs to finally fucking get there.
Yeah, I wasn't upset by it until I had to learn a new army.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this is really frustrating. They're like, oh, I've got these rules. Just scroll down to it. Oh, God, I've been a drop-down menu. And the drop-down menu, the drop-down menus isn't a problem until you don't know the name of the ability that you're looking for. If you don't know the name of the special rule because they've all got like fancy names like burn it to dust or like stab him in the belly, you know, I don't know what one I'm looking for. Right?
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's more of a problem for like a first world problem for us because we're going to be running multiple factions all the time to try and be entertaining.
Yeah.
Maybe if you play one faction, it's not so bad. You'll learn your rules pretty quickly. But yeah, the AdMech book issue is I hate the fact like Votan last year. Here, buy this super fancy limited edition box because we like to when we release new things nowadays. Just release them as limited edition to start with because it's the only way we can guarantee we get 100 fucking quid out of you. Because even if all you want is a Sisters Canoness, you're probably going to spend that money just to get hold of the Sisters Canoness. And then when you've got the 3 units of Zephyrim that you don't need, fuck it, that's your problem, not our problem. You can eBay them. Right? That seems to be what they're doing. I don't like that attitude in the first instance, but we continue to buy it. But if you then buy that same limited edition box, which is literally out of date the day you receive it. So Votan was a completely changed rule set by the time that box actually came out, and they continued to sell that codex.
Can you imagine what the game would have been like if someone hadn't leaked that codex?
Furthermore, Sisters, the whole points page, irrelevant. Literally irrelevant. At this point, I don't know why they have points pages in the book. Literally irrelevant. But yeah, you're right. That would have been problematic.
That would have been awful 6 months, wouldn't it? I'm not saying that we leaked it, but thank God it was. That's the only time I've been happy about someone leaking something. Because it could have been so much worse.
Could have been so much worse, you're right.
Right. Thank you, Stick Monkey, for 5. I hope, Stick Monkey, that next time you clean your computer, all the dust just comes out with no problem. No vigorous rubbing needed for you.
Stick Monkey runs the internet.
He is the internet.
So he has people that cleans his computer for him.
He has a USB plug in his bum. And he walks around town like a little cable.
Can confirm.
Thank you, Farmer George, for 5 gift memberships.
Thank you, Farmer George.
I hope that the next crop that you harvest has no wastage. It's all usable. Right? I hope.
He is actually a farmer, Farmer George, as well.
I guessed that by the picture of him and his little doggy.
Down in Cornwall.
Looks like a collie. I couldn't tell.
That's the right choice of dog, Joe.
Yeah.
Not that little
He's
yappy
a farmer,
shit.
of course he's got a collie.
Not
or
a
a Jack Russell Terrier for catching rabbits and ramblers.
What's the rat thing you have in your house?
A rat thing in my house?
You've got a rat dog, haven't you?
No.
What is it?
I've got a spaniel.
Rat dog.
A rat dog?
Yeah.
My spaniel's quite dense. Mentally and physically. Thank you, Elecman24. Build the Spite Rider Lancers. They're super cool. Well, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, but whether I build Lancers or Seekers, I prefer the heads on the Seekers, I think.
All are cool, isn't it?
But the Lancers, if you don't take the spear and if you don't take the fucking flag, this is the other thing. This is okay. Here's another thing that annoys about AOS, Joe.
Flags.
Unit of 3.
Yeah.
Spite Rider Lancers, right? Cavalry champion, musician, standard bearer, fly. Okay. So logically, what I should do is build the standard bearer and build the musician.
Yeah.
But then I don't get to build the stabby sticks.
No.
So then I have a unit of 3. I have a champion with a spear, a man with a flag, and a man with a flute.
So basically, it doesn't really matter until you reinforce the unit.
Yeah, but I don't want to build the flag and the flute. I want to build the fucking spears.
Can I have your banner then?
No.
Oh. It's a cool banner.
You can't have my banners.
I love the banner.
I've only got 2 of them in this box.
You only got 2 banners in one box. That's madness.
David fucking loves a banner.
Yeah, that's a cool banner. What they should do, right? I'd build the banner,
right,
and then what they need to do is instruments on units need to have one that's in a hand and one that's just loose. You can just glue it to him.
Yeah, I'd have that.
So he's using his spear to stab people, but if he needs to flute, he can. Farmer George is in Devon.
Devon, that's what I meant.
Are you Exeter way?
Devon, Cornwall, it's all the same, isn't it, basically?
Well, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They're close, but they're not. They're not the same.
Yeah, I don't want to have a fucking musician and a banner. I want to have all 3 spears so I can stab people.
Just buy more.
I don't want to reinforce the unit, Joe.
Why not?
I want one to be a banner without having a banner on it.
Oh. You just want to live in a fantasy world.
What do banners and musicians do? Do I care?
So a banner gives you +1 to your OC.
Not OC.
Your objective control.
Just control.
Your control. And the musician allows you an additional dice when you reinforce, I think.
When you say reinforce, you mean rally?
That's the one. Jeffers, he's never going to use magnets.
I don't use magnets. Fuck that noise.
Crumpage, yes, Spaniels. God gave them all the energy, but none of the brains.
Yeah, 100%. Champion, add 1 to the attacks characters.
I went for a really long walk yesterday. It's like a walk I did before, but I added an extra, a kilometre to it. And we got near the end, like 5 minutes away from the car park, and the dog was like, no, I walk no further. I am tired.
So I feel like I don't really care about the banner too much. Well, because it's standard bearer, add 1 to the unit's control score.
I'm leaving, you make me sick.
So just +1 to the whole unit's score, not to each member of it.
You don't need the banner.
So they've got a control of 6, with a banner I get control of 7. But the instrument is quite cool for rallying, as we found that's pretty OP. It's not 40k, you don't need strict WYSIWYG. Spike Riders are the ones with the spears, the Seekers are the ones with the hands. Yeah, they're all cool. I'm going to end up with loads of all of them, Electman, because they're all fucking sick. They're all cool as shit. But what I don't want to do is stick on banners and fucking horns when I don't have to. I'd rather stick on the spears, because the spears are cooler. But I don't want to get to an event one day and be like, right, I've got a musician and a spear, and I've got a musician and a banner and a champion, because that's what it tells me I can have. And then I get to an event and someone goes, you haven't got a banner. The problem is, I've been too jaded by 40k tournaments. So, if I don't put a banner and a musician in the unit, but the data card tells me I have a banner and a musician, does anyone actually really care? Is the question for the AOS crowd out there. Is anyone going to give a shit? Or am I just worrying about the way that 40k players react to things like that, and I shouldn't worry? Convert it to a back banner. No, I don't like the banners. I don't want banners. I might end up building a couple, but for the first 3, I don't want to build any banners. Maybe I just, my list that I wrote has 2 units of 3. Maybe I just build a unit of 6. And then I can have spears and banners and musicians all in one. Or is MSU better? I don't know. This is the beautiful. It legit does matter, but most people don't care. Banners are cool, in my opinion. Overthinking the problem, 100%.
You like?
Yeah.
It's a good sign, though. All the space.
Yeah, all that space for activities.
Me put my hand in my pants on the internet.
Yeah, I don't.
After dark. Right. Back to the thing. Thank you, Castellan, for 5 gifted memberships. I hope, Castellan, that I don't confuse you with Kazarian again. Maybe.
He's blown his load early there. He's going to owe us 50 soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he giving it to you in dribs and drabs?
No, he said if I get to 50 gym sessions, he'll gift 50 memberships.
He'll touch you.
But he decided that after I'd done 10 sessions, and he doesn't realise how addictive my personality is.
Yeah, that was You would have been better off doing it with me or Kyle.
Yeah, they need to save you money.
Thank you, Wee Man, for 5 gifted memberships.
Thank you, wee man.
I hope next time you go for a poo, it all comes off. It's one clean wipe done.
Jesus fucking Christ.
What?
I'm sorry, wee man.
Oh, I didn't unmute myself.
No, I'm glad. Did you hear that, people?
Did you? Yeah. Yeah. I told you, it's a D20 roll.
Will the unit naturally have a banner? If not, then don't build it. All the units come with banner and instrument.
Yeah.
If you go in the keyword section on AOS units, the top line will say cavalry, champion, musician, standard bearer, fly.
Yeah. Potato.
Cass is like, we shall see. If you haven't worked out by now that that's happening, then thanks, Phoebe. Thank you for the gifted.
He said that's a good wish regardless. So. Thank you, Smavin. Would you want to go back to 8th, 9th, or keep 10th? When I'd say the first 6 months of 10th, I would have quite happily just gone back to 9th.
I liked the end of 9th.
Because the end of 9th was really good because the end of 9th was really good because they'd spent 3 years making a good game. They'd done a really good job at balancing, keeping it good, making stuff work, making stuff make sense. And then they'll go, we're getting rid of that and giving you a box of shit.
That wasn't cleanly crimped off.
That wasn't cleanly wiped off in a oneer. What I would like to have seen is them keep 9th edition and implement some of the 10th edition changes to it, like the change in how characters work. So our characters were exactly how they were in 9th, but they can also join a unit.
I don't want them to join units, Jay. That gets too complicated.
I don't have an issue with it, but that's just me.
Okay. I realise we're over time now as well, so...
Massively.
I'm supposed to be taking you out for food.
He is. He's going to take me out for a lovely...
I decided I was going to treat you, because the only time we ever go out for some food together is when we have a guest here.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, Joe, how do you fancy a fancy dinner today?
Oh, we've got so many super chats. Less long answers. Right. But we will care about each one individually.
We do.
We'll ignore the constant ones like Elect Man. Thank you, Elect Man. 40k could do what Conquest last Argument of King does. Let heroes swap what unit they join if they're within movement range as an action. Well, that's what they used to be able to do, just leave a unit, join a unit.
Yeah, you could do that in 7th, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a thing that used to exist in Warhammer in general. And then it went in 8th edition, they went, heroes don't join units at all. So 7th edition, heroes join units. 8th edition, heroes don't join units. 9th edition, heroes don't join units. 10th edition, heroes join units. I don't.
Yeah, but now they join units, and when they're not in that unit, they're much worse.
Make it your fucking Mind Games Workshop. What do you want to do?
I don't have an issue with them being in units. I just wish that when their unit dies, I want them to keep being good afterwards.
Yeah.
I want them to be better when their unit dies. Because they're angry that their friends are dead. They're like, I will avenge you, I'll murder more people. Or they're like, oh, I'll go join some other people now. Allow them to join, another unit. Obviously, I don't have an issue with it being the same type of unit they have on their card. They can't leave a unit of intercessors and join a unit of terminators. They can join another unit of intercessors, but allow them to become safe again. Like, you could have a captain in a unit of 10 intercessors surrounded by 100 other intercessors, 10 squads of 10, and when his unit dies, he goes, oh, he stands there, I can't join any of my other friends. I can't help them.
You only have 60 intercessors because of rules.
Okay, he stood next to 50 intercessors, 5 squads. Oh no, 100, because there could be 60 assault intercessors and 60 normal ones. But there could also be 60 heavy intercessors.
But they're not intercessors, they're heavy intercessors and assault intercessors.
I don't give a shit.
Because
Stop killing my example, right? there's 120 intercessors. He can only be friends with 10. Right? There could be, right, about 30 pyroclasts and 30 hellblasters, and he's like, no, I only like those 10. I'm done with the rest. Right? And whilst he stood in this circle of 180 space marines, right, 10 die, and then he could be targeted by basilisks that hit him on 2s.
Not anymore.
They can, because if they're not stood behind a wall, they can still hit him on 2s.
Yeah.
Right? And, they should either join another squad or get loan op. Right?
Yeah.
The lion can't be hit.
He's doing well at this short answer, really,
The lion can't be hit if he stood next to one Terminator.
Yeah.
You could have a 10-man squad of Terminators, go down to one Terminator, and if he stood next to that one Terminator, he's like, no, you can't shoot me. And he's literally 3 times the size of a Terminator, right? But Acadian Castellan stood next to a Lehman Russ, can be shot. But he can be stood behind a wall of Lehman Russes and a wall and still be shot. Anyway, I'm running guard tonight. Thank you, Ian Inman. I want to get Gottschalk finished now as well. This is the problem with this stream. People are actually talking to us now and stopping me from doing what I want to do. But thank you. 40k should try alternate activations, at least in shooting and fight phases. It would lessen the impact of taking a whole army's worth of shooting.
I think for fight phases, it definitely works.
Yeah.
As we're seeing in AOS. I think for shooting phases, it doesn't work because you have a player turn where a player does a turn, and then you have in a fight phase, even in so if it's my turn in a fight phase in 40k or AOS or Heresy, we both fight. If it's Joe's turn and it's a fight phase, we both fight. Shooting phase has only ever been one faction with some reactions in Heresy, or there's some command abilities in Age of Sigmar.
I would move Overwatch to the shooting phase.
But
because currently it's in the movement phase and the charge phase. Keep it in the charge phase, so you shoot at someone who's charging you, you can't stop them. But having Overwatch in the movement phase really fucks some people over.
I would entirely and completely scrap Overwatch in its current form.
What, and just keep it only in the charge phase?
No, I'd get rid of it entirely as it is, and I would say that in your movement phase, once you've finished moving a unit, you can choose to put a unit into Overwatch. At which point, they can't shoot or charge because they're stood in Overwatch waiting. But in your opponent's turn, if they move, they do their movement phase, and once they finish with their movement phase, the units in Overwatch can then shoot.
Yeah, I like that.
That's what I would do. Much more tactical game. It means that I can potentially shoot, like, it's not like you can just go, turn one, I'm hiding everything behind a wall. Oh, I don't get to go first. You can't shoot at anything. You move all your stuff out for objectives because that's the game, and then I move all my stuff out and fucking obliterate you and blow you off the table.
Yeah.
So you go, cool, I'm going to move all my stuff out because of objectives, but I'm going to put everything in Overwatch.
Yeah.
So now when you do move out all your stuff to shoot at me, I have an opportunity to shoot at you as well.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Because shooting phases are one of the biggest problems in 40k in terms of balance, I think, is the shooting phase. Because guns are significantly more prevalent in that game than bows and arrows are in this one. And the shooting phase is one of those ones they've often... So one of their changes in the new mission pack is to increase significantly the amount of terrain on the table, which I think is a good choice, and I think they definitely needed to do.
Yeah, I like terrain.
But now certain armies are looking at the amount of terrain on the table, like Blood Angels, and going, lol, thanks for that.
Yeah.
Now I can leap all the way across the table, you can't see me or shoot me, and you've nerfed indirect into the ground, so I just get to charge you with relative impunity.
Do you think it's going to be really funny that Blood Angels have been the worst army in the game, representatively through the ITC, for the entirety of 10th edition? They change it, Blood Angels become S tier, and then get hit with a nerf. Because they will. They'll just make the Blood Angels units more expensive.
Yep.
Right? I just find it really funny that they've made a small change, one army becomes broken, and that army that's been really well unsupported and underrepresented for the last year then gets punished for it. Because that's what's going to happen. Thank you, Adrian. I am 15 minutes behind, and I just heard your good wish. Thank you, as I am crazy for that. Never can I get both litres and money at 0-0. That's life.
That was a fuel wish for him, do you remember?
That was. That's how I get in it.
Do people still do that? Do people still put like the nozzle in and be like £10 exactly? Do you still do that?
Every time I put fuel in my car, I always put £30 in.
There's the Morrison's fuel station outside my house now. There's one pump, just the one pump actually, out of all of them, where you go up to the pump and you set the amount you want before you put the pump in.
Oh, that'd be well good.
So you set like £30, put the pump in, and it clicks off at 30 exactly.
Oh, that's why isn't that a thing that's existed forever?
It does in the US.
Rude.
The US people will be confused because US fuel stations, you go in there, you're like, can I have 30 quid of fuel or $30 of fuel?
You pay first, don't you?
Yeah, you pay, you go out, and they basically authorise you to take exactly that.
Is that because they can't trust Americans to refuel their cars?
Because it makes more sense as a system, I think.
Yeah, stop people stealing fuel. We still have those bits of paper where if you can't pay for it, like you have to do a payment promise, and if you don't pay it within 14 days or something, they send the police round.
I've not paid for it once.
Yeah.
Because I literally forgot my wallet.
I
left my phone with her.
It happened to me a couple months ago where Morrison, so before you could pay by card and then it would take the money out like a couple of days later.
Yeah.
Which has always been the system for the 3 years that I've lived there in Shaftesbury. And they've changed it now where it takes £250 out of your bank account and then deducts the amount of money that you've taken fuel and then refunds the amount of money that's left. If you have less than £250 in your bank account, it takes all the money that you have in your bank account and then takes the amount that you've just used and then refunds the rest. But when they first implemented it, it took all the money out of your bank account, regardless of how much money you have in there, and then does it and then refunds you immediately. But for some people, like me, it took all the money out of my bank account and then wouldn't allow me to refuel because it was like card declined. So when I went in, so I thought, fine, I'll just do it manual. I was like, it's cards declined for whatever. I'll do the manual. I'll go in and pay because I know I've got money in my bank account because I checked before I put my fuel in. I had money in my bank account, and I went to go and pay. And then when I actually checked my bank account was empty.
Oh no, it was the fuel machine.
And I was like, the fuel machine's just taken all of my money because I could show you that because it said as a transaction like the X amount of money deducted Morrison, so it looked like I'd paid like 400 quid to Morrison's for fuel.
It's a thirsty car you got, Joe, isn't it?
Yeah.
I need to get through these super chats, otherwise we're not going to get out for dinner anyway.
Yeah. And my belly, much more important. Tank the Unknowing.
You shouting the name out, are we? Or?
This is my slight worry about the Great Hall gathering in August. I'm building for what I think fits the Dark Angels army, and what I think looks cool. And that's what you should do regardless.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm bringing Blood Angels, and I'm just going to run at my opponents.
I'm bringing World Eaters. I'm going to do the same.
I'm bringing Triple Brutalis.
And Joe kept saying to me about World Eaters, is there extra things you want me to paint for World Eaters for the event? I'm like, yeah, but I'd rather do AOS right now, so I'll just tell what we've got. And what we've got is not competitive. And guess what? I'm going to go to a tabletop with a tournament army that is just fucking full of berserkers, because I don't care they're not very good. A World Eaters army should have berserkers. Done.
Yeah. I mean, I can add more. It's not a problem.
Nah, let's paint AOS stuff. It's more important.
We've got time.
Nope, you haven't. What I've got lined up for you.
Cleaning his axe.
And what I've got lined up for you, you've not got time, mate.
Oh. Yeah, Tank, just think what you think is fun. There's going to be so many other people there just playing for fun that you're not going to be alone. We're going to be there. I know a lot of the other Great Hall people are going, and they're just going to go and have fun. Literally, the room is really big. It's about the same height as this room. This is your general kind of office-based room, but it's really big and wide, and it's got a bar running down the entire length of it.
Has it?
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll take knights.
So,
which army do you think I could finish a game in quicker, win or lose? Knights or World Eaters?
World Eaters, because if you come up against someone that can't kill knights quick enough.
Oh, yeah. Right, turn one, there you go, have some fun, shoot at that.
Everything in the game strength 6 -2 damage. If you just stood that in a line in front of someone, it'd just die.
If I literally don't care if I lose all 5 games.
Yeah.
I'm not bothered. As long as I have fun, my opponent has fun, and I can get to the bar.
There's a casino and a racetrack next door.
Although I'm supposed to be off the beer, Joe.
You could drink
Ribena.
Martinis.
My kids.
G&T.
I mean, all right, let me rephrase. I'm supposed to be off the alcohol, Joe.
Oh, okay.
Apart from mead on a Friday night with these lot.
Yes. Which is helpful, Joe. We can't see the height of the room, and we're a small window into your office. Yes. So basically, when we're stood up, right, so my finger now is currently touching one of the lights that hangs from the ceiling. So there's about a foot above my finger, and that's it. Okay?
You don't know how high he sat on the stool, but yeah, you know.
Yeah, and then obviously we finally got to the bit where John McCardle got his old ding dong out. Thank you, Castellan. He says lumberjack shirt fund. Thank you. Although I think we were doing gifted, but membership.
We are, yeah, we are.
But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we do. Thank you, Ginger Steve. Not seen you super chat for a while, Steve. Says, to be fair, Mikey's event wasn't like that last year. It had cash prizes. There are probably only 5 people in the event who have any chance of winning. Josh Roberts is there, so only one really. I don't know who Josh Roberts is, but I'm assuming that he's good at the game.
Joe and I are so out of touch with the
The problem is people go, oh, I saw this person. I'm like, who? Like, you could literally just be picking these names out of a book for all I care. Because I don't know. The problem with the ITC, if you're not really deep into it, is that it means nothing. I couldn't tell you who won the ITC for the last 10 years. I don't even know who's in the top anything.
Oh, the person who won the ITC winner last year was VT.
It wasn't VT. It was someone who plays for VT. I thought.
No, that's not what Instagram told me.
Oh,
VT won it.
All of it. All the top 10.
They didn't say Matt in any of the posts really. They just said VT won it.
Oh. So yeah, I think like we said earlier, realistically, none of us normal folk, none of us muggles are going to win it.
Oh, no.
So just go and have fun. If you win a couple games, you win a couple games. Like, be like, if I win a game, I get to eat an entire packet of Jaffa cakes. Right? So, if you bring 2 or 3 packets of Jaffa cakes, you might get to eat all of them.
2 or 3 packets? That's fucking bold, isn't it? Assuming you're going to win that many?
You might win by accident.
These are going to be annoying.
One of your opponents might not turn up and then you just get a win by default.
They're going to have to get pinned, I reckon.
Yeah. Pinned to the bed and spanked. What you could do is, because you've got loads of those wildwood trees, right? You could cut the branches off and have the branch like a branch coming up from here and then glue them to the branch. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Like he's flying above the treetops.
I mean, you'd have to show me what you mean because it sounds awful.
Thank you, Will Stewart, for 20 gifted memberships. We did you earlier, but I don't know if I wished you anything. I hope, Will, that next time you shave, he's got I don't know if that's a picture of you in there, but next time you shave and you'll make all your lines are perfectly straight and symmetrical and you've got no little random curly hairs at the top there. Sometimes when I'm trimming under here, I'll go and look at myself and like one side's real bushy and one side's like really, really thin. And I'm like, I should go see an actual professional.
Barber?
Yeah.
Ali?
Thank you, Alec, man. He's on one today.
He likes AOS, doesn't he?
If you want narrative events, look up Holy Wars Havoc. Never heard of him. But I will. Maybe. Possibly. We'll run narrative events here, and they'll be great.
We will.
We'll be the #1 for narrative Warhammer in the world. People will literally kill each other in the streets to come and play here. And if they don't, we failed.
They're fucking cool, these, aren't they?
Yeah. Why have you not glued their faces on?
Because you build the bodies, and then the faces are all relevant to whether you build the Spike Rider Lancers or you build the Revenant Seekers.
Oh.
They're all different. The heads are different.
Oh, okay.
So carry on. Anyway, you've got a job to do.
Thank you, Will Stewart, again for the super chat. If he's already a member, so you can't get the triple.
He had the triple yesterday.
Yeah. I miss narrative. I want to play some intense stories. No points, just a single narrative objectives to be done at the end of the game.
Yeah, I miss those old Eternal War missions, but there's nothing stopping you from playing them. They're just.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. People are like, you can play Eternal War from 7th edition. You can, but it would be nice if they actually just gave us all this stuff in the new edition.
Like, just get
because we keep talking about bringing new players in. There's some new players won't know that those things existed.
Yeah. Do what we used to do as kids. Just build a wall. Pretend that you're Trump for an afternoon. Build a wall. Put a bunch of soldiers on the top of it, and then just have one of your friends' armies run at you over and over and over and over again until they get through.
Yeah.
And then be done.
Cool, isn't it?
He comes with a scenic base and a normal base. He's having the scenic base because that's cool.
Can you not have him on both?
You can, but I glued the part on that moves, so. So he's on the scenic base. Look at him, he's cool as shit.
He's fucking really
He's a
cool,
sexy
man.
bastard. Thank you, Ian Inman. Rules like devastating wounds, fate, and miracle dice, which basically remove chance from the game, exacerbate the lack of alternate activations. Yeah, I don't think you should be able to use fate or miracle dice in things like Overwatch.
Why are you just taking away all the things that my armies do?
Because I'm getting real fucked off where you go Overwatch with the big melty fireman. What's his name?
Avatar.
The Avatar. Or I've hit you with a 6. Additional D3 hits. Whee! Oh, you're dead.
I'll stop doing that when you stop going, 1 CP tank shot, 1 CP grenades.
No.
Well, there you go then. You just answered.
Or 0 CP.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Elect Man says, it's not just that I love AOS, I also want to support you in what you do because you're worth it. We are L'Oreal.
We are. With less hair
Perfect advert.
on the top of our
Thanks,
heads.
Elect Man, you're amazing.
Thank you. The problem is the whole of the game was designed by what feels like one specific person who doesn't like rolling dice, and that all chance should be taken out of the game. And you only work with pure, unadulterated maths, which is boring. Thank you, Archer. I hope you're the real Archer.
Jeffrey.
No, Archer from Sterling Archer from the cartoon series Archer.
Not Jeffrey Archer.
No. As a Deathwatch player, I see only fun times in 10th. I have a feeling it's only going to get better. P.S. Not bitter. I was saying before we came on, I'm tempted to build some Deathwatch for boarding actions. It's like a little force, little painting challenge. Got my little
Painting challenge because they're black.
Well, the thing is though, I bought some new Vallejo airbrush black paint. I got normal black because I'd run out, and then I got tire black, and I was like, what army can I paint with tire black? And I was like, Deathwatch would be cool.
Okay.
I'm listening. I was listening. I got sleepy listening to a book the other day,
How can one person love painting black armour so much?
and I was like, oh, I need to listen to a book that I've listened to before. So if I miss bits of it, it doesn't matter. I started listening to Eisenhorn, and Eisenhorn has Deathwatch with him. So I was like, Deathwatch, cool.
Okay.
Right. And also they're in Cypher's game books as well.
All right.
Thank you, Castellan. A wise Cass says, this bring your funniest list. What the? Are you having a stroke? A wise Cass says, this bring your funniest lists. Have a great time. Shout wag. No one does that. No one in the right frame of mind does that. And have good time. P.S. See you all next month. Cass, you need to stop drinking and messaging whilst you're
Is his
driving.
day off? He's allowed to day drink.
Oh, so if you're day off, yeah. If you're in the pub, having a few pints. Yeah. If you shout "wag" in a public place, you should probably section. I think.
Thanks, Cass, by the way.
Yeah, but Cass, thank you.
I appreciate you.
Have fun, play games, be stupid is great. That's what we should all be doing. If you're taking the game far too seriously, I think you're missing out on the purpose of why we do the game in the first place.
Pussy.
The women. It's like when they're describing female dwarfs in Lord of the Rings. Sometimes you think there are no female dwarfs; they just pop out of the ground. Thank you, Simon Edwards. Moving swiftly on. As much as I'm not a fan of actions, if the game is just kill, then list building is what it is mostly killy. So list variety is really narrow. Actions give units that aren't great at killing a purpose. This is true.
No, I disagree. List building was never a problem pre-action.
Well, so what's interesting, right? So before actions, there was a golden period of late 7th, most of 8th, right? When ITC wasn't governed by Games Workshop, it was run by Frontline Gaming. And their secondaries were great because you picked your secondaries based on your opponent's army. But the core was hold one, you get a point for holding one objective, you got 3 points for holding more than your opponent, you got 1 point for killing a unit, you got 3 points for killing more than your opponent. So instead of just go here, stand there, there was also killing stuff to do. So armies that weren't very resilient didn't need to stand on objectives because they could go and try and kill things. And then there were secondaries, which you picked 3 of based on what your opponent had bought or how you designed your army. So you could go and stand somewhere and do something, or if your opponent had massive hordes, it was like killing hordes. If they were super elite armies, it was based on killing units that had... you got a point for every 5 models that you killed with a wounds counter to go 3 or more. I feel like there is much less variety in missions now than there was.
Counterpoint, the best list building encouragement ever was Maelstrom of War.
Oh, that's so good.
No actions at all, not a single action in it.
Yeah.
Maelstrom of War, you could pull objective 1, which is the other side of the table. You could pull kill a psyker. You could pull down a tank. You could
pull down your pants.
You could pull down your pants. Yeah. Best list building for variety, Maelstrom of War.
Yeah. Or AOS 1, if your beard is better than your opponent's, gain 10 points.
Yeah.
If you're drinking out of a stein, gain 10 points.
Yeah.
If you're wearing a hoodie that is black, gain 10 points.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know what you're saying, but I think there's better ways of doing it other than do actions,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, in my personal opinion. And I think we've seen examples of that in the past. Actions is just, I hate actions. Do nothing, get some points.
Yeah.
Cool, done. Not interactive.
And it's like units, like elite units of scions, the elite of the elite of the guard infantry were reduced to standing in the corner of the table, not killing anything.
Yeah.
Just pressing buttons on a stick.
I would argue actually that actions have made lists more boring because this is a unit just to do actions. This is a unit just to do actions.
Yeah.
And then people would take with lictors. For the longest time, lictors were just behind enemy lines.
Hardly know her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Lictor behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adrian! I went to a Warcry tournament and won nothing. Best time I had because I managed to play with a custom warband. I enjoyed painting. I did get a spoon.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm super into that.
I went with Ginger Steve to an Old World tournament.
Well, why don't you just marry him?
I would. But he's ginger, so... Also, he lives up north.
Can't get over the smell of piss and twit.
Okay.
No, we're running out of time.
I could get over the ginger if it's just the northern
You've
bit.
still got to set the table up as well, yeah?
I know. It's Brom and I'm running guard. This here, playing in the desert.
Who's one of the Space Wolves?
Yeah. Yeah, just have fun. Just Having fun. That's what it's all about. That's why we all started this hobby. No one started this hobby to be the best at it. They started it because you like big tanks and scary monsters that beat the shit out of each other.
I like big tanks and I cannot lie.
Yeah, and
The other brothers can't deny.
I like to have a swift tank. Yeah.
Thanks, Adrian. Love you.
Thank you.
You beautiful human.
Thank you, Castellan. As a Salamanders player, do it, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to do them then.
He's also said, did someone remove my last comment? YouTube's been really weird lately. There's a lot of people reporting that their comments are getting removed.
Yeah.
If your comment got removed by a moderator, I'd see it in front of me and it would tell me it's been removed.
Yeah.
YouTube's just being weird lately.
I imagine the swear, there's like, this word could be construed as a swear word.
No,
get rid of
YouTube's
it.
just being super weird lately.
Yeah.
There's a ton of people that are saying, my last comment's just disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, it's YouTube. Sorry. Carry on.
Thank you, Peaches the Destroyer.
Destroyer?
Oh, you know it. Right. Hero Hammer, you say. Son, let me tell you a story of all father's greatest hero hammer boys, the Volker Fenrika. 10th ain't great for 'em, but they hero hard because every Space Wolf is a hero in his own right.
Yeah, they are.
Well, guess what, right? I was going to play Space Wolves when the new... I tried to play Space Wolves a bit, and I really enjoyed it, and then you played them, and then Brom played it. I mean, it kind of became like whichever one of the three of us was just wanting to play it at that time, we would just run it. But then Brom found out that their new faction's really, really good.
Yeah, it's better. It's not better.
It's a lot better now. And he was like, why are you playing them, Joe? I think I'll play them.
That's exactly how it went. In that voice as well.
Yeah, in jackboots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's his army. Now they're good.
It's my army now.
Yeah. I like Space Wolves. I think they're cool. We need to get Lee. If Lee wasn't so pressed at painting other stuff for himself and for AOS, I'd be like, paint more. Get him in the sweatshop.
Get him in the sweatshop.
Yeah.
Not sure we can tell him to get in the sweatshop, Joe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's already working on King Brod, and he messaged me the other day saying that he's already got some more Caradron stuff.
I need to. I messaged him, but he didn't respond.
No.
So
well, you go for his agent.
fuck him. I think I need him to build the jumpy balloon men with the spears.
Yeah.
And he needs to get 6 more.
Okay.
Thank you, War Master Will. He says that 4-year-old comment feels aimed at me, Joe. Yes, specifically because of how you treat your 4-year-old models.
I mean, poor War Master Will words has had a fucking hell of an experience with Legends units in the past.
Yeah, he was the only one giving 4-year-old a float.
If you ever want to know what's going Legends, just look at War Master Will's collection.
Yeah, or his dustbin.
Yeah. Thanks, Will. Anyway, you're a hero.
Yeah. Thank you, Castellan. I've started some kind of Kaz war.
Yeah.
Kazarian is the Tenmu version of me. Sorry, bud.
Timu. Did you see there was a picture recently of Trump with the little ear bandage on, right?
Yeah.
And it says when you order a pillow on Timu. Fucking died. Yeah. Thanks, Cass. You're a hero.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan Skippy, for the 1 gifted membership.
Legend.
Thank you, Arian. Aryan. Aaron.
Yeah, let's say that. I don't know if we want to say Arian.
Not when Brom's around. Right. The problem is there's like 47 million ways of spelling Aaron.
Yeah.
And they'll all tell you which one is right.
Thank you for the gift anyway.
Thank you, Mookie or Mocky. Played 40k, 13 years, 6th and 7th, rocked. AOS is king now. Why didn't you guys try 3rd edition? 4th has been cool so far too.
We kind of did try 3rd a little bit. I mean, a lot of the stuff we're building at the moment is stuff that we already had when I started going on my mad binge buys during 3rd edition when I was getting annoyed with the various states of 40k.
Yeah.
As Joe will tell you, I tried to jump into 3rd 2 or 3 times, but it was a bit all over the place. It wasn't horrific. It was arguably not as horrific as 10th edition is now, ironically. But when you're trying to come into it for the first time ever, and people go, "Oh, don't forget we're playing in this realm, which means all this stuff," I'm like, I don't have a clue what's going on.
Yeah, it was too too bogged down, and it would take a lot of behind the scenes work of just learning to play the game to get to a point where we'd kind of caught up with everyone else.
So up until 10th edition, I didn't really have a need to play a different game. I wanted to play AOS, but I didn't have a need to play AOS. When 10th edition launched, I then wanted to play a different game rather than, needed to, rather than just because I fancied it. And I was told there's a new edition coming, and I thought, well, this is a perfect time now to get ready to learn the game with a brand new edition and a reset. And so that's why we've waited till 4th.
Yeah, it has really helped, like, getting in on the ground floor.
Yeah.
And I think I think a lot of channels, if they want to get into AOS, now is the time to do it. Or if anyone's thinking about getting into AOS, now is the time to do it because you're starting fresh.
We're also doing learn-alongs on the streams, and I was worried that people would be like, these fuckers don't know what they're doing, but actually the feedback we've been getting in the comments is really, really good. Yeah. People said the learn-alongs is actually really helpful. Yeah. There's things we're not quite getting right yet. Give us a month or so, and Joe and I specifically will be quite dialed in, I think. Yeah. I'm really fucking enjoying it. I'm mad for Sylvaneth at the moment. I started reading their lore yesterday. Oh.
I like Sylvaneth lore. It's great. I'm a big fan. I've finished Talia of Edra for these Cities of Sigmar, so I've not got a vast amount of stuff left to paint to then get cities on the table. Yeah. And then I need to get all the... I need to get the Skaven up to 2k, and then I've got more of the Skaven-tied stuff for the Silver Boys.
Stormcast.
The Stormcast. Get them...
I gave you loads of stuff.
He gave me a lot of stuff. So basically I need to get that all painted in the same colour scheme to get over 2,000 points of that. Then I've got Slave to Darkness to do. After Slave to Darkness, or probably whilst I'm doing Slave to Darkness, will probably when we invest more in Flesh Eater Courts. And then after that, we need to decide what I do next. What army to do after Flesh Eater Courts.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'll have a look at the factions and make a decision.
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, we've got Lee is doing Brod for us. King Brod. We need one more big buck guy.
Yeah, I've got one built at my house.
So that'll get us to 2,000 points exactly. Mm-hmm. 3 big guys, including King Brom, and 3 little guys, is exactly 2,000 points on the nose. Yeah. And then obviously we've got the Bloon boys, Cadrons. We've got the Fire Slayers, and then and then the world is our oyster.
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing Maggotkin because we've got loads of Nurgle demons already.
I feel like to start with, I'd probably reward you with like Head of Knights or something. Yeah.
That model range is stunning.
Yeah.
I really like Head of Knights. Okay. Or Daughters of Cain.
Right, I think we've got one more. I'm hungry.
Yeah. We've got 2 more now.
I need protein in my face.
Thank you, Castellan. He says, if you want to be the very best, collect Pokemon.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
True.
The thing is, though, even collecting Pokemon nowadays, I wouldn't even know where to start. I'd be like, I want the original 151, and then there's like 7,000 other Pokemon after that. Like, here's one which is like your Japanese love pillow, or here's one which is a talking cup of tea. They've gone too far.
They have. The 151 was all they needed.
Yeah.
Got greedy.
And what was like about Pokemon Go, I collected all 151, and I was like, I'm done now. I've completed the game. Don't need the rest. And then you've got Liam and Russ at the end. Poor Joe, he's not going out for dinner with Liam today. We are now. You're the last one.
Yeah. Tonight's stream might be thrown together last minute. Yeah. Because at the moment, food's more important to me.
I need to write my army. Oh, thank you, Roland Payne. How would you improve Astra Militarum?
11th edition.
I would get plastic catch hands.
How would I improve Astra Militarum?
Immediate improvement.
I would.
So ready for plastic catch hands.
Things like turrets need to do, like turret weapons in 9th were a sweet spot. They're bad now.
Yeah.
Turret weapons need to be better. Yeah. Main battle tanks need to be more accurate than artillery pieces. Mm. I would allow infantry units to be more than 10 man.
Yeah.
Like up to 20. I think those little things alone would make a massive difference. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I want the orders to be better. At the moment, it's not the orders phase; it's the take aim phase.
Yeah.
I want better orders than just take aim.
I've built 5. I've got another 15 Rough Riders to build. I want them to be good.
I want like
I'm going to run them because I think they're amazing.
I want orders like Bring It Down, where you reroll wounds versus vehicles and monsters.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Do you know what I want to get
order.
rid of? Do you know what I want to get rid of?
That terrible haircut.
Yeah. I need to cut the sides. No, what I want to get rid of.
Don't worry, Joe. Pots and kettles.
I want to get rid of the fact that we've got Cadian infantry, Catachan infantry, Krieg infantry, normal guard squad. You've got 4 options for a unit to do the exact same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Right? Just make it guard squad, Astra Militarum infantry squad, and then, much like you're like this, like the good old times, you then assign that unit an ability to represent which world you are from.
Oh, Joe, don't.
Right? So if you are a Catachan, you either get +1 strength
And attack.
right? So just +1 strength because, like, I don't know, and then allow them to take more flamers in the unit, right? Give them infiltrate because then they represent something like the Tanith first and only. Give them a 6-up feel no pain to be Krieg. You know, Cadians get +1 ballistic skill.
Why do they get rid of us as playtesters, Joe? Fucking idiots.
So you have one unit, but you can give them different things, which then makes them more representative of the people that you want them to be. Allow Talon to advance and shoot.
Yeah.
Because they're like a fire and maneuver kind of army, or move, shoot, move.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that, but I also want to see new plastic kits. I want new Krieg, and I want new Catachans.
He doesn't want to eat. This is the problem.
I just love Guard.
Yeah.
I just want Guard to be... I just want them to be good.
We can pick this exact super chat up tonight as well. It'd be interesting to have the same topic of conversation this evening.
Yeah.
When they're facing against Space Wolves.
Yeah. I'll bring I'll try and bring a slightly varied version on the Guard.
Yeah. Right, you people have been amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on the Liam and Joe show, the extended Liam and Joe show by 45 minutes. We should have been in the restaurant by now.
Yeah, just gobbling meat.
So we're going to go, because we've also got to get everything ready for tonight, including army lists and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with us, you beautiful people. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have, please make sure you leave a comment after we finish, because it really helps us. 20, 30 comments on the last one, the Liam and Joe show on Tuesday, was amazing, and it definitely has helped. So thank you so much for that. It appeases the algorithm gods. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please come and hang out with us tonight at 7:30. Joe is running guard against Brom, who I thought was bringing orcs, but has pivoted into Space Wolves, which is good, because we haven't seen them since the update.
Yeah, I know, but like orcs got bad. Oh, I'm a Space Wolf player now.
Yeah, so come and hang out with us for Astra Militarum versus Space Wolves tonight at 7:30. I will be producing for you beautiful people. We've got 40k After Dark tomorrow at 8:30. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, have a wonderful time.